Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to all. A new year, a new day, a new beginning. Wishing everyone a very happy new year filled with hopes and success. Let's start our day with a prayer.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
The VIBGYOR Business Summit is an initiative of the VIBGYOR Foundation, an organization dedicated to promoting ethical principles in finance and trade. For over a decade, VIBGYOR has worked to show that business can be both profitable and principled, rooted in transparency, fairness, and social responsibility. This summit brings together thinkers, practitioners, and community leaders to reflect on how ethical finance can strengthen trust, support entrepreneurship, and widen financial inclusion for ordinary people. It's a space to share ideas, learn from practices, and explore models that place human values at the heart of economic truth. Through discussions, learning, and collaboration, the VIBGYOR Business Summit seeks to inspire a future where financial system empowers society and contribute meaningfully to the common good. To formally begin today's proceeding, it's my honor to invite Mr. Nimshid Rohouf, General Manager, VIBGYOR Group of Companies, to deliver the welcome address. Sir, the stage is yours.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected dignitaries, honorable guests, and my colleagues. Alhamdulillah, it is very wonderful event. In the year 2026, we are start with a precious moments in the name of God. We are at the concentration in the field of ethical finance. I am very glad to inform you that the VIBGYOR Foundation present a wonderful event for the ethical finance. The riba, the interest is, that very difficult to society and very, very painful to poor peoples. But the VIBGYOR, or our slogan is peace, purity, prosperity. We overcome the all burden of interest with the peace and purity and prosperity. My duty is welcome to all to the program. First of all, I welcome our guest, chief guest, Mr. NUVAIS. The event is a managing director of IMBEX. Second of all, our SHARIQ NISAR sir, our precious guest in the event. And next of all, I invite Rahmatullah sir for the event and SAIF Ahmed Khan for the next event, and our chairman Ali Mansoor sir for this event. First, the event, I think more familiar with its Malayalam. VIBGYOR ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ഇവൻ്റാണ്. നമ്മളൊരു ക്ലബ്ബ് രൂപത്തിൽ ഇത് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് ഒരുപാട് ആളുകൾക്ക് എത്തിക്കൽ ഫിനാൻസിൻ്റെ നിർദ്ദേശങ്ങൾ കണ്ടെത്തി കൊടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഈ ഒരു സൊസൈറ്റിയുടെ വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ലക്ഷ്യം. ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം നമ്മളിവിടെ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഒരു 10 ദിവസം കൊണ്ടാണ് ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാം പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്തത്. ഇത്ര വലിയ ഒരു സദസ്സ് ആ സമയത്ത് ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ സാധിക്കുമോ എന്നുള്ളതായിരുന്നു നമ്മുടെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പേടി. ബട്ട് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു നിഗമനങ്ങളൊക്കെ തെറ്റിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് വലിയൊരു ഇവൻ്റായിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്തു മാറി. അൽഹംദുലില്ലാ, ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിൽ എല്ലാവരെയും ആദ്യമായി സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് അധ്യക്ഷ പദവിയിലേക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ചെയർമാനായിട്ടുള്ള അലി മൻസൂർ സാർ ക്ഷണിച്ചുകൊള്ളുന്നു. അസ്സലാമു അലൈക്കും വറഹ്മത്തുള്ളാഹി.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, at this moment, it's my honor to introduce a visionary leader who has been guiding the force behind VIBGYOR Nidhi and several financial initiatives across Malappuram. A true serial entrepreneur, he has consistently worked to promote ethical finance, financial literacy and opportunities that uplift our community. With his commitment, guidance and inspiring leadership, VIBGYOR continues to grow as a trusted institution serving people with integrity and purpose. We are privileged to have him with us today. May I now invite our respected chairman, Mr. Ali Mansoor, to deliver the presidential address. So please.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. പ്രിയമുള്ളവരെ, സാധാരണ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ്, അക്കാഡമിക് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റികളൊക്കെയാണ് ഇതുപോലെയുള്ള കോൺഫറൻസുകളും സെമിനാറുകളും ഒക്കെ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാറുള്ളത്. ഇപ്പോൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ 1-2 ആഴ്ചകളിലായിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ പല ഇസ്ലാമിക് യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റികളിലും ഇതുപോലെയുള്ള പ്രോഗ്രാമുകൾ നമ്മൾ കാണുകയുണ്ടായി. ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാം പോലും വളരെ യാദൃശ്ചികമാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ഗസ്റ്റുകൾ നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിലുണ്ട് എന്നറിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴാണ് നമ്മൾ വളരെ പെട്ടെന്ന് ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാനും അതിനുവേണ്ടി പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്യുകയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായത്. അൽഹംദുലില്ലാ, നമുക്കത് വളരെ വിജയകരമായിട്ട് നടത്താൻ കഴിഞ്ഞു. നമ്മുടെ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാം ലൈവായിട്ട് റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്ത് ലൈവായിട്ട് ഡിസ്പ്ലേ സ്ട്രീം ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പുറത്തുനിന്ന് ആളുകൾ നമ്മുടെ പ്രോഗ്രാം കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു വ്യവസായ സംരംഭകർ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ VIBGYOR എന്തിനാണ് ഇത്തരം ഒരു പരിപാടി സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് എന്നതാണ് ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളോട് പറയണമെന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നതിൻ്റെ ഒരു കണ്ടന്റ്. ഇപ്പം നമുക്കറിയാം, നമ്മൾ ചെറുപ്പം മുതലേ മദ്രസകളിൽ നിന്നും സ്കൂളുകളിൽ നിന്നുമൊക്കെ കേട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഈ പലിശയോടുള്ള ഈ നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ ഇന്ന് കാർന്നു തിന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പലിശ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സംവിധാനത്തിന് ഇസ്ലാം വളരെ ശക്തമായി എതിർക്കുന്നു. അതിൻ്റെ തിന്മയുടെ പാപഭാരത്തെക്കുറിച്ചൊന്നും ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നില്ല, നമുക്കൊക്കെ അറിയാം. പക്ഷെ ഒരു സൊല്യൂഷൻ നമ്മുടെ മുമ്പിലില്ല. ഇപ്പോഴും ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ ആധുനിക ലോകത്ത് പോലും നമ്മുടെ പണ്ഡിതന്മാർക്കിടയിൽ പോലും അഭിപ്രായ വ്യത്യാസങ്ങൾ നിറഞ്ഞു നിൽക്കുകയാണ്. അത് ശരിയാണോ, ഇത് ശരിയാണോ, അത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ, ഇത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ, ഇൻഷുറൻസ് എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ, ഇൻഷുറൻസ് ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ, ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ. നമുക്ക് സ്റ്റോക്ക് മാർക്കറ്റിൽ പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, മ്യൂച്വൽ ഫണ്ടിൽ പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ മെനി ഡൗട്ട്സ്. Sir, still the Muslim community is facing how can find out the best product, halal product. That is a new problem all Muslim communities facing. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിനൊരു പരിഹാരം ഉണ്ടാകൽ എങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ, നമ്മുടെ ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്കറിയാം, നമ്മുടെ ചെറുപ്പത്തിൽ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ സ്കൂളുകളിലും കോളേജുകളിലും നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സമ്പാദ്യത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് സമ്പത്ത് എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാക്കാമെന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. പക്ഷേ അതിനെ വൃത്തിയായിട്ട് മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാനും കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യാനും ഒരു കോളേജുകളിൽ നിന്നും പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നില്ല. അത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് സമ്പത്തിനെ കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ജെൻസി പിള്ളേരുടെ കയ്യിലൊക്കെ പണം വരുമ്പോൾ വളരെ ഇമ്മീഡിയറ്റ് അത് അപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഡിസ്പോസ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടും. എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് ചിലവാക്കാൻ മാത്രം അറിയുന്ന ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിയാണ് ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ മുമ്പിലുള്ളത്. സേവ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ചോ കോവിഡ് വന്നതിന് ശേഷമാണ് കുറേ ആളുകൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലായത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് പണം സേവ് ചെയ്ത് വെക്കേണ്ടതിൻ്റെ ഒരു അത്യാവശ്യത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് പല ആളുകളും ചിന്തിച്ചു തുടങ്ങുന്നത് അങ്ങനെയാണ്. കാരണം അവനവൻ്റെ വരുമാനം മുട്ടുമ്പോൾ ഒരു ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നുള്ള വരവ് നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് 3-4 ഭാഗത്ത് നിന്ന് ചെറിയ ചെറിയ വരവുകൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് മുട്ടിയാലും വേറൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാകുമായിരുന്നു എന്ന് ചിന്തിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി അപ്പോഴാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത് വെച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് ഫൈനാൻസ് ഡിസിപ്ലിനെ കുറിച്ചും ലിറ്ററസിയെക്കുറിച്ചുമുള്ള ധാരണ നമ്മുടെ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളിൽ, നമ്മുടെ ഉമ്മമാരിൽ, നമ്മുടെ രക്ഷിതാക്കളിൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയെടുക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു വലിയ ടാസ്ക് നമ്മുടെ സമുദായം, നമ്മുടെ ഈ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി ലീഡേഴ്സ് ഏറ്റെടുക്കേണ്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ വിബ്ജിയോർ ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ക്ലബ്ബ് രൂപം കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. വിബ്ജിയോറിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി നാട്ടിലുടനീളം അമ്മമാർക്കും കുട്ടികൾക്കും രക്ഷിതാക്കൾക്കുമൊക്കെ ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ ലിറ്ററസിയെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള ഒരു അവബോധം ഉണ്ടാക്കുക, എങ്ങനെയാണ് സമ്പത്തിനെ കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് എന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ ഡിസിപ്ലിനെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള കൃത്യമായ ഒരു ധാരണ നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്കും രക്ഷിതാക്കൾക്കും നൽകുക എന്നതാണ് വിബ്ജിയോർ ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ധർമ്മം. രണ്ടാമത്തെ ധർമ്മം, നമ്മൾ പണം ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ, നമ്മൾ പണം ഡിപ്പോസിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്കത് ഹലാലായിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് നമുക്ക് തന്നെ തീരുമാനിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്ന വിധത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ ഓരോരുത്തരും പണ്ഡിതന്മാരായി മാറുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. നമ്മുടെ പണം പ്യുവറായിരിക്കണം. ആ പൈസ, സമ്പാദിച്ച പൈസ കൊണ്ട് ഞാനോ എൻ്റെ മക്കളോ എൻ്റെ കുടുംബമോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ദുരിതത്തിലകപ്പെടാൻ പാടില്ല എന്ന ബോധമുള്ള വലിയൊരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി നാട്ടിലുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ അവർക്ക് അറിയില്ല ഞാൻ ഈ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ശരിയാണോ, ഞാൻ ഈ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ശരിയാണോ, ഞാൻ ഈ വാങ്ങുന്ന ഈ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ശരിയാണോ എന്നറിയില്ല. അപ്പോൾ അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ ഓരോരുത്തർക്കും കൃത്യമായ ബോധം നമുക്ക് തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്ന രീതിയിൽ നമ്മൾ ഓരോരുത്തരും പണ്ഡിതന്മാരാവുക എന്നതാണ് അതിനുള്ളൊരു പരിഹാരം. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും അതൊക്കെയാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഈ വിബ്ജിയോർ ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ കൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിയെ നമുക്ക് ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ ലിറ്ററസിയെക്കുറിച്ച് അവെയറാക്കി കൊടുക്കാം. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഈ ഹലാൽ പ്രോഡക്റ്റുകളെക്കുറിച്ച്, അത് കണ്ടെത്തുന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ച്, അത് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഒക്കെ നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനെ, നമ്മുടെ റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സിനെയും നമ്മുടെ സ്കോളേഴ്സിനെയും ഒക്കെ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവർ ആ മേഖലയിൽ ഒരുപാട് കണ്ടെത്തലുകൾ ഇനിയും വരേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ വിബ്ജിയോർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സ്ഥാപനം ഞങ്ങളിവിടെ തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ 2018 ഞങ്ങളിവിടെ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ ഒരുപാട് ആളുകൾക്ക് ആശങ്കയുണ്ടായിരുന്നു ഇത് എങ്ങനെ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുമെന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ച്. നിങ്ങൾ കമ്പയർ ചെയ്തിരുന്നു മറ്റ് പലിശ ബാങ്കുകളും ഞങ്ങളും തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസത്തെക്കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ കമ്പയർ ചെയ്തിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ അതേക്കുറിച്ചല്ല സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്. ആക്ച്വലി നമ്മളിവിടെ ഒരു ലെഗസി ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. കഴിഞ്ഞ 6 വർഷത്തിനുള്ളിൽ 5 ബ്രാഞ്ചുകളിലായി 35,000-ത്തിലധികം ആളുകൾ ഉൾക്കൊണ്ടുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു വലിയ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിയെ ഈ എത്തിക്കൽ ഫിനാൻസിൻ്റെ മേഖലയിൽ നമുക്ക് സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഒരുപാട് ആളുകൾ ഇന്ന് അതിൻ്റെ മേഖലയിൽ അതിൻ്റെ സൗകര്യങ്ങൾ പറ്റിക്കൊണ്ട് ജീവിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിൽ സമ്പത്ത് നിക്ഷേപിച്ചവരായിട്ടും അതിൽ നിന്ന് സമ്പത്ത് ഉപയോഗിച്ചവരായിട്ടുമുള്ള ഒരു വലിയ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഞങ്ങൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു ഇത് കേരളത്തിലുടനീളമല്ല പാൻ ഇന്ത്യയിലേക്ക് തന്നെ ഈ ഒരു ചിന്ത മാറ്റുകയും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അതിനുള്ള സംവിധാനം, ആളുകൾക്ക് എത്തിക്കൽ ഫിനാൻസിൻ്റെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റുകൾ അവൈലബിൾ ആകുന്ന അതിന് പറ്റുന്ന സംവിധാനങ്ങളുള്ള ഒരു വലിയ നെറ്റ്വർക്ക് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ രൂപീകരിക്കുക എന്നതാണ് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ വിബ്ജിയോർ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓഫ് കമ്പനി ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്. അതിനുവേണ്ടി ആളുകളെ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും ആളുകളെ ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ ഡിസിപ്ലിൻസിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നതിനു വേണ്ടിയുള്ള സംവിധാനങ്ങൾ ഒരുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് വിബ്ജിയോർ ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്. തീർച്ചയായും ഞങ്ങൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു എല്ലാ വർഷവും ഇതുപോലുള്ള ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ സമ്മിറ്റുകൾ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ കോളേജുകളിൽ ഇസ്ലാമിക് ഫിനാൻസ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്ന പോസ്റ്റ് ഗ്രാജുവേറ്റ് കോളേജുകളിൽ നിന്ന്, യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റികളിൽ നിന്ന് 1ാം റാങ്കും 2ാം റാങ്കും ലഭിക്കുന്ന വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളെ ആദരിക്കാനും നമ്മുടെ കോളേജുകളിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെ പഠിച്ചിറങ്ങുന്ന വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾക്ക് ഇൻറ്റേൺഷിപ്പ് സൗകര്യം ചെയ്തു കൊടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ കരിയർ ഗൈഡൻസിൽ തന്നെ ഒരു സംവിധാനം ഒരുക്കാനും വിബ്ജിയോർ ഫൗണ്ടേഷന് സാധിക്കുമെന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. തീർച്ചയായും അതിൻ്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ ഒരു സ്റ്റെപ്പ് എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ നമ്മൾ ഈ ഫിനാൻസ് സമ്മിറ്റ് ആരംഭിക്കുകയാണ്. ഞാൻ വളരെയധികം നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. മൈ ഹേർട്ട്ഫുൾ താങ്ക്സ് ടു മിസ്റ്റർ ഷാരിഖ്, നിസാർ ആൻഡ് മിസ്റ്റർ സൈഫ്. അതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ വളരെ മഞ്ചേരിക്കാരനായ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു വ്യവസായി കൂടിയായ മിസ്റ്റർ നുവൈസ്, അദ്ദേഹം നമ്മുടെ ഈ പരിപാടിയിൽ സംബന്ധിക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് വളരെ സന്തോഷകരമായൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. കാരണം ഈ ഒരു വിബ്ജിയോർ തുടങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഞാൻ അദ്ദേഹവുമായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അദ്ദേഹം നൽകിയ ഒരുപാട് ഗൈഡ് ലൈൻസാണ് നമുക്ക് ഇത് ഒരു സ്ഥാപനമായി കെട്ടിപ്പടുക്കാൻ നമ്മൾക്ക് സാധിച്ചത്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഞാൻ അതിനുള്ള നന്ദി അദ്ദേഹത്തോട് അറിയിക്കുക കൂടിയാണ്. കാരണം വ്യവസായികൾക്കും ബിസിനസ്സുകാർക്കുമാണ് പൈസയുടെ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ആവശ്യം. മാർക്കറ്റിൽ പൈസ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലാണ് നാട് സമൃദ്ധമാവുക. അതുകൊണ്ട് മാർക്കറ്റിൽ പൈസ കൊണ്ടുവരാനുള്ള പരിപാടികളാണ് വിബ്ജിയോർ ആവിഷ്കരിച്ചു കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇത് അതിനുള്ളൊരു തുടക്കമാകട്ടെ. ഈ പരിപാടിയിൽ പങ്കെടുത്ത എല്ലാ ആളുകൾക്കും ഹൃദ്യമായ നന്ദി. നമസ്കാരം. അസ്സലാമു അലൈക്കും.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce a visionary entrepreneur whose work has touched homes across India and beyond. More than 25 years ago, a business from Kerala began a remarkable journey. With commitment, innovation and hard work, that venture grew into Imbex, a trusted brand in consumer electronics and home appliances. Today, Imbex under KCM Appliance Private Limited offers a wide range of products from televisions and sound systems to kitchen and home appliances, combining quality, affordability and reliability. The company has expanded across India and too many international markets while building a strong after-sales support network and a reputation for customer trust. Behind the inspiration stands a leader with a vision and perseverance, Mr. NUVAIS, the founder and managing director of Imbex. He transformed a modest startup into a dynamic, forward-looking enterprise, creating employment, encouraging innovation, and showing that companies built in Kerala can compete confidently on the global stage. His leadership reflects commitment, humility, and a deep belief that business should add value to society. We are truly honored to have him with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you to join me in warmly welcoming Mr. NUVAIS to the stage and invite him to inaugurate the VIBGYOR Finance Summit 2026. So please.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Happy New Year. ഈ വിബ്ജിയോർ ഫിനാൻസ് മീറ്റ് 2026 ഉദ്ഘാടനം ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഇതിൻ്റെ ചെയർമാനായ അലി മൻസൂർ എന്നെ ക്ഷണിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. അതോടൊപ്പം ഞാനും അലി മൻസൂറും കുറേ ഇതിൻ്റെ പോസിറ്റീവ് സൈഡും നമുക്കിതിലുള്ള ഇതിൻ്റെ കോൺസെപ്റ്റും ഇതിൻ്റെ എത്തിക്കൽ ഫൗണ്ടേഷനും ഒരുപാട് ഞങ്ങൾ ചർച്ച ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഈ ഒരു നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അലി മൻസൂർ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ സമ്പത്ത് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫണ്ട് ആവശ്യമുള്ള ആളുകളുടെ കയ്യിലേക്ക് അത് എത്തിക്കുക, അതിനെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവായിട്ട് യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്യുക. അപ്പോൾ ഫണ്ട് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവ് ആക്കാൻ കഴിയാത്ത ആളുകളിൽ നിന്നത് ശേഖരിച്ച് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവായ ആളുകളിലേക്ക് ഇത് എത്തിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെ മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ ചെയ്യുന്നൊരു മെക്കാനിസമാണ് ഈ വിബ്ജിയോർ എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു ബോധ്യം. അത് ഹലാലായ രീതിയിൽ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് ഇതിനെ ആ നാടിനെ സാമ്പത്തികമായി രണ്ടർത്ഥത്തിലും മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോവുക എന്നതാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു അടിസ്ഥാന ലക്ഷ്യം എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ബോധ്യം. ഈ ഒരു ഇസ്ലാമിക് ഫൈനാൻസ് കൾച്ചർ രൂപപ്പെടേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. അതോടൊപ്പം ഇന്ത്യ പോലെ ഒരു പലിശ പലിശ അടിസ്ഥാനമായി നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു രാജ്യമാണ് ഇന്ത്യ. ഇന്ത്യയുടെ എല്ലാം പലിശേനെ ഫൗണ്ടേഷനിലൂടെയാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ കൾച്ചർ തന്നെ രൂപപ്പെടുത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. വേൾഡ് മൊത്തം അതിലൊരു വലിയ സംഗതിയാണ് ഇന്ത്യ. ഇതിൽ ഈ ഒരു കൾച്ചറിൽ നിന്ന് ഇതിനെ എങ്ങനെ രൂപപ്പെടുത്തി കൊണ്ടുവരും എന്നുള്ളത് വളരെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനിങ് സംഗതി തന്നെയാണ്. അതോടൊപ്പം ഞാൻ മൻസൂറേറ്റ് ഇതിൻ്റെ ചില ആശയങ്ങളിലുള്ള ഡിബേറ്റും നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. കാരണം ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു എൻഡ് ഓഫ് ദ ഡേ ഇതിൻ്റെ ബെനിഫിഷ്യറി ഒരു ബിസിനസ് ആണോ അതോ കാരണം ഒരു കോമൺ സെൻസ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഞാൻ ബാങ്കിനെ ന്യായീകരിക്കുന്ന വ്യക്തിയാണെന്നൊന്നും അല്ല ഇതിന് പറയുന്നത്. ബാങ്കിലേറെ ഏതർത്ഥത്തിൽ ആളുകൾക്ക് ഇത് ബെനിഫിഷ്യൽ ആവും എന്നുള്ളത് ജസ്റ്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയുക എന്നുള്ളതും കൂടിയും ഉണ്ട്. ഇന്ന് ലോകത്ത് പലിശ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് കുറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. വേൾഡ് നോക്കിയാണ് അറിയാം, ലോകത്തെ ഏറ്റവും ഇംപ്രൂവ് ആയ രാജ്യങ്ങളിലെല്ലാം പലിശ വളരെ ഈവൻ ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ അറിഞ്ഞത് ചൈനയിലൊക്കെ 2.5% പലിശ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. 2.5% എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു വർഷത്തിൽ വേൾഡിൻ്റെ ഇൻഫ്ലേഷൻ തന്നെ ഉണ്ട്. മിനിമം 3%, 4% ഇൻഫ്ലേഷൻ തന്നെ ലോകത്ത് ഉണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഗോൾഡിനൊക്കെ അടിസ്ഥാനം വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ ബാങ്കറാണ്. കഴിഞ്ഞൊരു 1-2 years നമുക്കത് കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. പക്ഷേ ഒരു ലാസ്റ്റത്തെ ഒരു 15 years എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എവറി ഇയർ മിനിമം എല്ലാ സാധനത്തിനും 3% ഡീവാലുവേഷൻ നടന്നുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഡീവാലുവേഷൻ നടക്കുന്നതിന് താഴെയാണ് ചൈനയുമാരിയുള്ള ഒരു രാജ്യം അതിൻ്റെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് കൊണ്ടുവച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അത് ജനങ്ങൾ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിൽ ഡെപ്പോസിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാതിരിക്കാനും വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ആ രാജ്യം കൊണ്ട് അവർ ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. കാരണം ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സാധനം ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നവന് ഈ ഒരു ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളൊരു മടിയനാവുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുക. എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് കുറേ ഫണ്ടുണ്ട്, ഞാനത് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എൻ്റെ ക്രിയേറ്റിവിറ്റി ഒന്നും മുന്നോട്ട് വരുന്നില്ല. പക്ഷേ ഒരു ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പം നമുക്കതിൽ റിസ്ക് ഉണ്ട്, നമ്മളതിനെ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കേണ്ടി വരും, ബിസിനസ്സിന് ഫെയിലിയർ ചാൻസ് ഉണ്ട്, അതോടൊപ്പം ഒരുപാട് ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഉണ്ട്. ആ അർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഇന്നത്തെ പുതിയ ആളുകൾക്കൊക്കെ താല്പര്യം കുറവാണ് റിസ്ക് എടുക്കാൻ. ഇപ്പം ചൈനയെ പോലുള്ള രാജ്യം ബാങ്ക് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് താഴെ വെച്ചാൽ എല്ലാവരും ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. അപ്പം നമ്മളിവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവരേണ്ടത് എനിക്ക് ഇതിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാന വിഷയങ്ങളൊന്നും അറിയില്ല, എന്നിരുന്നാലും എൻ്റെ കാഴ്ചപ്പാട് വെച്ചാൽ മൻസൂറിനോട് പല അഭിപ്രായ വ്യത്യാസങ്ങളും ഇതിലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ഞാനതിൻ്റെ എക്സ്പേർട്ടും അല്ല. പക്ഷേ ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ബിസിനസ്സിലെ പാർട്ട്ണർഷിപ്പ് വ്യവസ്ഥയൊക്കെ കൊണ്ടുപോകുമ്പോഴാണ് ഇതിനൊരു ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ പറയേണ്ട ആളൊന്നുമല്ല, ഇതിൽ ഉദ്ഘാടനത്തിൻ്റെ കൂടെ പറയുന്നതിൻ്റെ കൂടെ പറയേണ്ടതുമല്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് ഒരു ഭയങ്കര നാടിൻ്റെ ഭയങ്കര ഫണ്ടമെൻ്റൽസാണ്. ഫണ്ടുള്ള ആളുകളെ കയ്യിൽ നിന്ന് ഫണ്ടിനെ വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്ന ആളുകളിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കുക എന്നുള്ള പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം. ഇതിന് ഏറ്റവും നല്ല ട്രാൻസ്പാരൻസിയോടുകൂടി എത്തിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇതൊരു വൻ വിജയം തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും. അത് ഈ നാടിൻ്റെ നമ്മളുടെ എസ്പെഷ്യലി നമ്മളെ മലപ്പുറം ജില്ലയിലേക്ക് ആളുകൾ ഭയങ്കര പ്രയാസമാണ് ബാങ്കിൽ പലിശ മേടിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത്. പലിശ പല ആളുകളും ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവില്ല. നമ്മളുടെ ഫണ്ട് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവായി ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അതിൽ നിന്ന് ഏണിങ്സ് ഉണ്ടാക്കി കൊടുക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു വലിയ സംഗതിയാണ്. വിബ്ജിയോറിൻ്റെ കോൺസെപ്റ്റും അതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് ഏറ്റവും ഫൈൻ ട്യൂൺഡ് ആയിട്ട് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എല്ലാ മെക്കാനിസം, അതോടൊപ്പം ഇത് എല്ലാ അർത്ഥത്തിലും ഒരു അട്രാക്ഷനാണ് നമ്മൾക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവേണ്ടത്. ഇതിൻ്റെ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരാൾക്ക്, ഈ ഫണ്ട് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കും ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ബെനിഫിറ്റ് കിട്ടണം, ഫണ്ട് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കും ബെനിഫിറ്റ് കിട്ടണം. അപ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് കൂടുതൽ ലാഭവിഹിതം കൊടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് അട്രാക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് പകരം കൂടുതൽ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവായ ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കേണ്ടത്. ഇന്ന് ലോകത്തെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രൈവറ്റ് ഇക്വിറ്റി കമ്പനിയാണ് ബ്ലാക്ക് റോക്ക്. അപ്പോൾ ബ്ലാക്ക് റോക്കിൻ്റെ ഒരു ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ലോകത്തെ മൊത്തം വേൾഡിലെ ഏറ്റവും ബെസ്റ്റ് കമ്പനികളിലാണ് ഇവിടെ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെൻ്റ് ഉള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ കിടക്കുന്നത് ആ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത കമ്പനികളിലാണ്, അയാളുടെ ഫണ്ടിലല്ല. അവർ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത ഫണ്ടിലല്ല അതിൻ്റെ ഫൗണ്ടേഷൻ കിടക്കുന്നത്, അവർ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവായി ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത മേഖലകളിലാണ് അതിൻ്റെ സ്ട്രെങ്ത് കിടക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ വിബ്ജിയോർ നാളെ വാല്യുവേഷൻ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതൊരു ഗ്ലോബൽ ടൈക്കൂൺ ആവണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇത് നല്ല നല്ല ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഓണർഷിപ്പ് എടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് ഇതിൻ്റെ പാർട്ട്നേഴ്സിന്, ഇതിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത പാർട്ട്നേഴ്സിന് ഇതൊരു ഗ്ലോബൽ വെഞ്ചർ ആക്കാനുള്ളൊരു ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടാണ് ഇതിന് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടതെന്നാണ് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഒരു 5 മിനിറ്റ് കൊണ്ട് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. അതോടൊപ്പം ഞാനിവിടെ ഇത് ഉദ്ഘാടനം ചെയ്തതായി നിങ്ങളോട് പറയുകയാണ്. ഇൻഷാ അല്ലാഹ്. അസ്സലാമു അലൈക്കും.
Thank you, Mr. NUVAIS, sir, for inaugurating the VIBGYOR Finance Summit 2026 and for your gracious presence. As a token of our gratitude and remembrance, we are honored to present a memento to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. NUVAIS. I invite our beloved chairman, Mr. Ali Mansoor, to present the memento and request Mr. NUVAIS to receive it. Sir, please. Thank you, sir. We now move on to our VIBGYOR Academic Excellence Award, honoring the MA Islamic Finance rank holders for their outstanding academic achievement. May I request the students to kindly appear on the stage as their names are announced. The second rank in MA Islamic Finance is secured by Ms. Fatima Rayhanatwi. May I now request her to please come forward. May I kindly invite Mr. SHARIQ NISAR, sir, to present the memento. Sir, please. Thank you all. Unfortunately, second and first holders are absent, so they are on the way, sir. Moving on, without further ado, to the highlight of today's event, the launch of Reflection of Wealth and Science in the Quran. Respected dignitaries, dear friends, it's our privilege today to welcome Dr. A.R. Rahmatullah, a distinguished scholar known for his deep engagement with ethical and value-based finance. His writings have consistently reminded us that wealth is not just a possession, but a trust to be used with justice, compassion, and responsibility. This morning, we are delegated to release his new book, Reflection on Wealth and Science in the Quran, a thoughtful work that explores how Quranic principles can guide a fair and human financial practices. It gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. SHARIQ NISAR to officially launch the book by handing it over to Mr. SAIF AHMED. Sir, let us witness or celebrate this special moment with a round of applause. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce a visionary who has changed the way India thinks about ethical finance, Dr. SHARIQ NISAR. Dr. NISAR is widely regarded as one of the pioneers of Islamic and ethical finance in India. With a PhD in economics and decades of research, he has worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between modern finance system and moral responsibility. He played a leading role in developing India's first Sharia-compliant stock indicated with the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange, opening door for thousands of investors seeking ethical alternatives. Beyond industry innovation, Dr. NISAR has been deeply connected with academic and public policy. He has served as a visiting fellow at Harvard Law, teaches internationally, and has authored numerous research papers and books that continues to guide students, scholars, and financial institutions around the world. His advisory role spans mutual fund, investment firms, and policy bodies, including contribution to the government committees and discussion on inclusive finance. Through his work, Dr. NISAR reminds us that finance must serve society, promote fairness, and bring dignity to economic life. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to welcome to the stage scholar, mentor, innovator, and a guiding light in ethical finance, Dr. SHARIQ NISAR. And I also invite our beloved Vice Chairman, Mr. Abu Bakr Patanath, to the chair for today's session. So please.
Assalamu alaikum. Namaskaram. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. We are in a summit of Islamic Finance 2026. It is our pleasure to introduce Mr. SHARIQ NISAR, who has changed the way into think about ethical finance. Dr. NISAR widely regarded as one of the pioneer of Islamic ethical finance in India. With PhD in economics and directors of research, he has worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between modern financial system and moral responsibility.
We can save time.
Okay. He played a leading role in developing India's first Sharia compliance stock exchange in India as well as in Bombay Stock Exchange, opening door thousands of investors seeking ethical alternatives. Beyond this inventory, Mr. NISAR has been delayed, connected academia and publicly. He served visiting fellow Harvard School, teaches internationally, as authored numerous research papers and that continue to guide students and scholars' expertise. His role spawned mutually fund investment firms, policies, bodies including contribution, the government of committee and discussion inclusive. Through his work, Dr. NISAR reminds us that finance must serve society, promote fairness, and bring dignity to the economic life. So, I am inviting Mr. Nisar, Dr. Nisar to the stage to deliver his valuable speak. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We will keep it little bit. Huh? Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone. And very happy New Year. I'm pleased to be starting this New Year from my very favorite place, Kerala. And I hope that it is a good year for all of us. I'm also thankful to Mr. Mansoor Ali, Chairman VIBGYOR, and all his team members for inviting me to this event. And I hope that the effort that we are going to make today is helpful to all of us in understanding microfinance, its different models, what are the Sharia issues, how it works, and how we can make our life better by use of financial instruments and financial institutions for the benefit of all. That's my idea. I will request that please make note of your questions. That will be better for all of us. If you get a chance to clarify your doubts, if you get a chance to talk and make comments also. So I will try to cut down on my presentation in the hope that you all will participate to ask questions, especially to students that I see around. It will be great if you ask questions, clarify your doubts, and share your inputs as well. So this is my topic today, Islamic microfinance models and tools. And I'll try to focus on yes. Okay. So, so while introducing microfinance, I'm sure many of us already know about it, but we'll try to see what more perspective we can bring onto this discussion. We will discuss about microfinance models practiced in our country. As of now, we will also try to see what are the major criticisms and challenges in microfinance. And there have been number of crises that microfinance industry has faced over the last 2 decades in our country. That also is a part of our collective learning. I'll try to shed some light on those learnings, as I have been myself a part of microfinance efforts in various forms and shapes. And then we'll try to move on to Islamic finance. And time permitting, we will also try to see which are the real case studies for us to see how Islamic microfinance can practice on ground. So this is the agenda for my talk today. Here we go. Some of the case studies, time permitting, I will highlight. Otherwise, we will utilize that time for Q&A. Now, so microfinance itself refers to provision of financial services, not only to in small sizes, but to people who usually fall outside of the formal financial system. That is the definition of microfinance. And microfinance in general is not only credit, although in our country microfinance basically is microcredit. You know, when people are able to save even a smaller amount like what is happening at VIBGYOR here, it builds on their saving, it builds their capacity, it converts debt saving into capital formation. That is the theory of microfinance. So not only microcredit, but micro saving, microcredit, micro remittance, as well as micro insurance. That is the gamut of entire microfinance segment. Unfortunately, saving, remittance, and insurance are hardly available in our country, and therefore we are happy to only with microcredit and calling it microfinance. That is what is right. So, whereas a poor person not only needs credit, a poor person may also require a saving opportunity if somebody is having 5 rupees or 10 rupees or 20 rupees saving, why that saving should not be converted into capital for the country? That is the idea. But the big financial organizations have least interest in mobilizing such a small saving, and therefore those kind of savings which can be trillions of dollars or trillions of rupees in India's rupee term are remaining uncaptured, unutilized, unmobilized. So microfinance institutions can be using this. Remittance has become easy now, but there was a time when remittance cost was about 5% or up to 10%, transferring money from one to other place. But thanks to National Payment Corporation of India, UPI and various other things, in the last 10 years this problem has been resolved to the best of options. We can now transfer money from any place to anyone for any small amount and without any cost at all. So now what we are going to discuss more about microcredit. Now why microfinance? So, sorry, okay. This is the second one, right? Now, so after moving from what is microfinance to why microfinance. So poor people or people who do not have high income, they have inadequate income, therefore they have no saving. Because they have no saving, there is no capital formation. Because there is no capital formation, there is no investment, and there is no investment, and therefore they have again low income. So poor people remain in the vicious cycle of low income, because whatever is small they have, that cannot be saved, that cannot be mobilized, that cannot be converted, and therefore they have no option but to spend that and remain poor. So microfinance is first needed to break the vicious cycle of low income. If people are able to save, they will be able to convert that saving into capital formation. That is one why microfinance is needed. The second is microfinance is needed to meet consumption and contingency needs. Most of the people in our country who have come after hard work of years above poverty line with one incidence of health or something like that, they go back to poverty, and years of efforts bringing them out of poverty goes waste. That is the condition. Especially with something happening like health conditions, people become poor and the whole family suffers immensely because of unforeseen expenses related to consumption or health condition or maybe marriages, maybe education, etc. So microfinance is also needed to meet consumption and contingency needs. The third reason why microfinance is needed is to provide an alternate to formal financial institution. We have seen that country's financial system was nationalized in 1969. Insurance was nationalized in 1956. Despite nationalization of financial system, people could not have bank account until the technology enabled them in the last 10 years. So why? Because financial institutions, especially banks, were not interested in capturing a small amount. So there is a need to provide an alternative to formal financial institutions. Why? Because formal financial institutions give lending on project based. When you go to borrow from a bank, they will ask what for, number one. Second, they will ask for collateral, what guarantee you provide. And third, they will be less interested if your amount required is small, because the cost of operation for them is quite high in terms of monitoring and transaction cost. So banks are like big nets which are not interested in any small size of fishes, and they will only look at big ticket, big size. Have you ever wondered that none of the unicorn companies have ever come into light through financial support from bank? Bank cannot see your brain. Bank can only see what collateral, what guarantee can you provide. And therefore any economy that has to capture the imagination of entrepreneurs cannot survive through banking finance, because the model of bank itself is not supportive of entrepreneurial culture. It is supportive of, by design, it is supportive of the security culture. And therefore all the big companies that you can name, initially they came without banking support. Once they became big, then they started relying on banking support, or banks started chasing them to finance their requirement. So microfinance is needed for all these purposes, to break the vicious cycle, to meet consumption and contingency needs, and to provide for alternative to formal financial institutions. Now, I'm not moving this. Somebody else is doing it. Yes, I need to be sure where I'm moving. Is this the next one? If you can do, I'm fine with that. Here? Oh, it's not doing. Huh? Can somebody help me? Huh? Okay. If I have you have a printout, I can see from here only also. Or somebody can do from there also. Yes, please do it. When I indicate, you can move it. Okay, so we go to next slide from here. No, not this. From here, next one. Yeah. So coming back to where I started was that microfinance should be micro saving, micro credit, micro remittance, and micro insurance. But for regulatory reason, what we do today in the country, especially our country, is micro credit. Now, what are the models for micro credit? Yeah. Let us leave it here. It's working? It's working. Okay.
This is forward.
Okay, thank you. Now, there are two models. Initially, we started with individual lending, but nowadays, microfinance is basically group lending. And in group lending, there are three different variants. One that is known as very popularly Grameen model. Anybody can guess what is Grameen model, or do you remember why Grameen model is so popular? Anybody? Any student? Yes. So, first time ever in the history, a banking model was given Nobel Peace Prize. Okay? And this is the model that we are talking about, Grameen model. Students, you should be aware of, right? So, that is one. Then there is something very unique about India's own effort, especially the social sector led by government, and that is known as SBLP model, which is SBLP is nothing but self-help bank group linkages model. This is second. And then what Indian private microfinance institutions have adopted from Grameen model is known as JLG model, which is joint liability group model. So as of now in our country, these models are in practice, and of course a good number of microfinance institutions, especially cooperatives, rely heavily on individual lending, but by and large the for-profit microfinance rely heavily on the group lending model. Okay. Now very quickly, this is how Grameen Bank started. So one person is interested in getting loan. They will ask that one person to join a group of 4-5. Then all 4-5 will be given some kind of financial literacy program, financial literacy training. After they have learned how to calculate money, okay, after they have learned some basic financing, how to account, how to save, how to write notes account, etc., one of them will be given loan and others will be waiting till this person pays. And that way, once that this person has paid, the other will get, then other, then everyone will get. Over a period, Grameen Bank realized that women are better borrower. right? And with experience. Why they are better borrower? They are not as mobile as men. They stay closer to their families. They drink less. They lie less, and they take more peer pressure. Since microfinance was not giving loan based on any collateral because the borrowers were not having any kind of collaterals to offer, over a period they realized that other people will make sure that the first person pays, because other people's loan are dependent on first person payment. So this is a kind of peer pressure, and peer pressure is applied good through women than through men, right? This is just psychological behavior, and over a period they realized that women are better borrower, and they started focusing giving loans to women, and today 80% plus microfinance borrower would be females. Now when this happens, there is always a credit for women empowerment. So basically, women empowerment, yes, somebody could be very keenly interested in women empowerment, but reality is that women are better borrower than men, and therefore anybody giving loan to gender-based loan to anyone, any gender, will definitely rely more on female than male. That was the reason, and then it is how it started working, and it reached to millions of people. These are some details. I will not go into those details to save time for you to ask questions. Okay? So, how meetings happened, how many loans happened, what kind of service charges or interest were charged, etc., etc., etc. This is something I am leaving to save my time, because I have already been introduced twice, and a couple of minutes has been consumed on that. Right? We move on to next one. This is India's model, and this came through support from German social organization NGO, and they wanted to see that despite nationalization and all the efforts that government of India has been doing right since independence, India's more than 50% adults could not have bank account, and leave alone females. Even males did not have account, and not more than 8% of the total people who had banking account could borrow from bank. That means 50% population is not having even bank account at that point in time, in 90s, and not only more than 8% people could borrow. That means 92% people in the country could not borrow from banking system at all. At that point in time, an idea was floated that if people are poor, bank cannot operate on a smaller size, then can we not make people join together to become, as a group, become a worthy banking client? So that was the idea. So what happened? Here is a bank, and let us say in Mallapuram or some social organization NGO is there. It will go to some rural areas or anywhere, encourage 15-20 people to join together, and these 50-20 people, once they join together, because independently they are not bankable customer, in the sense they do not have enough amount to save, and they cannot borrow from bank because they do not have collateral. Now if one person cannot, can we try by making 20% open one single bank account? This is the idea, where SHGs were formed, and SHGs for the purpose of banking account were considered. They could open bank account in their common name. Now 20 people will save money together, and after 5 or 6 months of saving and for some financial understanding developed, the bank was encouraged to give matching loans to the amount people had saved. So if 15 or 20 people had opened one common bank account without having any kind of registration as a company or as a group, etc., then, and let us say if they have saved in 6 months, say they have saved only 10,000. So bank will give matching credit. So total option available to these guys, this team, would be 20,000, 10,000 their own saving, and 10,000 loan approved by bank. Now these people with leader, they can give loan to their own group, and they can keep recording and monitoring, etc. So part of due diligence was transferred to the same group. They were encouraged to save, they were encouraged to take lending decisions, and banks' risk was much less than otherwise. And this is how it started working. Today, more than 100 million families have SHG account, right? And here is the detail. So it was launched in 1992 on pilot basis, and then slowly it started, more and more people started forming group, they started opening bank account, they started collective saving, they started borrowing from banks, and then they started lending to their own group and all this. So this NGO earned commission for providing bank account, opening bank account through self-SGs. These people got an opportunity to save and get loan, and bank got customer who otherwise were non-worthy customer of the banking section. That is SHG model. Moving fast forward, we have, this is private sector microfinance business in our country. Now here it is non-banking finance companies most basically. So those who know about India's microfinance sector, they know that microfinance sector is one under RBI known as NBFC MFI. That is one registration under RBI. You form a company and then your company is into its microfinance business. RBI will categorize that company into MFI, microfinance institution. There are other set of institutions, trust, not-for-profit organizations that also are active in microfinance, but those are not part of regulation under RBI. They come under a self-regulatory organization called Sadhan, right? So there are two segments, but by and large, India's microfinance is under NBFC MFI. Now what happens? A for-profit company comes, it borrows from bank and it gives loan to customers by making group. So the company will come forward to give loan. It will not form group on its own. It will encourage you come for loan, and then NBFC will say you come in a group of 5. NBFC will not have any role to play in that. So you form a group. Now NBFC will give loan to one and ask others to wait until she pays. Then next, then next, then next. Exactly the same that learning of Grameen Bank was there. But here it is for profit. So all the people will form a group. One will be given loan. Once she pays, the other will be given loan. Once she pays, then other, and so on. The cycle will complete. Now, these are the details. Again, I'm not going to discuss more on this. I request organizers to share the presentation with anyone who is interested, so that we can pay more attention to the discussion that is going to happen. You can take the copy for your record or maybe for your further study. Moving further, these are the criticism and challenges of India's microfinance sector. And actually, these challenges are very much linked to what is the next slide going to say. But by and large, it is blamed, and not wrongly, that India's microfinance sector charges not less than 24% interest rate in an environment where the normal interest rate range is 7 to 8, 9%. Microfinance, the poorest lady in our country pays the highest amount of interest. The biggest people in our country will pay 7%. The poorest lady in our country will pay minimum 24%. That is the complaint. Now these are the complaints, and RBI had established a committee in 2017-18, or maybe earlier, YH Malagam committee. And the committee came forward with all the problems that India's microfinance segment was facing, and these are. So microfinance companies will collect security deposits and charge very high interest rate, and then how they calculate this 24% also was very untransparent, right? Some of them would appoint themselves as a customer to the client and charge consultancy fee customer is not even aware of. Those kind of costs were there. And then business model was such that many of these NBFC companies were hoping to get listed at the stock market, and therefore they wanted to show a big size of their loan. They wanted to show a big loan book. And how can they increase the size of loan book? They do not want to work hard to reach more number of clients. They wanted to give more loan to the same client. And that problem led to multiple lending. And since these companies were asked not to show bad loans, so once a person has defaulted, they will give loan in the name of other person to the same person just to make sure that the loans are recovered. So most of the time, new fresh loans were given to recover old loans in the garb of another loan or fresh loan. So the recovery was very great in the microfinance institutions' balance sheet, and the size of customers was also increasing. But in real sense, this was building up a crisis in the microfinance, where ghost borrowing, over lending, multiple lending were leading to indebtedness of the poorest segment of our society. And when this happened, many microfinance institutions started coercive methods of recovery of loans. So they would go to houses, they would take out something, they would take animals, they would take hand pumps, etc., to recover and say that you pay. And this led to number of suicides in microfinance segment, and that led to India's first crisis of microfinance that we will be discussing in the next slide. Added to all these problems, Muslim customers have two additional issues. Number one, this is all interest based. Now, on one side they are faced with poverty, on the other side there is religion coming in between. Interest is not allowed and you are paying interest. This was a very painful burden to the community that already is poor, and then having to compromise on their belief was a very heavy burden on their chest. The second problem in the society related to microfinance is that mainstream microfinance are focusing more on giving loans to women, and Muslim culture doesn't allow that. In the morning, first thing our women do is rushing to the microfinance office and fetching some loan. Many times people started feeling that it is assault on Muslim culture, that females, instead of giving more time to their family, spending more time at their house, they are running around to fetch loans for the family. And these are two additional problems. So these all are the problem as far as mainstream in microfinance is concerned. Now, India's microfinance industry has faced several notable crises in the last 10 years or so. Huge crisis. The first came Andhra Pradesh loan crisis. This is the period 2009 to 11, yes, when Government of India under RBI established a committee to look at the crisis and the problems faced by India's microfinance, and all the challenges that I mentioned a couple of minutes before actually is from the report of this crisis. And I'm talking about official reports, I'm not talking about unofficial report. Then demonetization happened, and you all know that the notes were demonetized, no longer in a legal tender. Now when this happened, microfinance institutions which had given loan to people, and people were paying back depending upon the sale they were doing in their normal small businesses, there was a cash crunch, and that cash crunch led to non-payment of loans, and that non-payment of loan led to huge liquidity crisis for the microfinance companies. This followed by GST, etc. That was another very important crisis in the microfinance sector, although in a way it was good for the economy because there was tax reform, but it impacted very badly the smallest segment of the society, or the smallest traders in the community or the society, and then followed by COVID. All these crises have impacted microfinance industry in India in a very different manner. What has been the learning? These are who did well, right? These are those with a stronger internal financial system. they were able to cope up with these challenges, right? And there is a learning why I have noted this slide at this place, that if you are strong financially and in terms of cash, you will be able to cope up with the crisis. If you are short on liquidity, your investments are into illiquid asset, some crisis comes, you will be facing a lot of challenge, and some of them could go bankrupt as well. Now, this is one challenge. Another was, if you look at all the 4 crises, I have summed up the learning of all the 4 crises into one, and those who took better care of their staff and clients survived better. During COVID, it was not a mistake of staff for their inability to recover loan. Many companies fired their staff hoping that this is the only way to save cost. But when COVID was over, they did not have field staff to recover the loans. They went bankrupt. So all those organizations which took care of their staff in bad time, they came out strongly in good time. So it is immensely important that organizations, especially financial institutions, take good care of their staff and client both. This is also very important. Third learning, all those organizations which face problem, one way is that you suffer silently, another way is you make your regulator know the problem that you are facing. Those who were open to share their problem with the regulator ultimately prevailed upon regulator to understand their situation, delay their accounting procedure for non-performing assets, etc., etc. And that way they could qualify, they could survive the period of challenge, and later on they recovered faster. And believe it, regulator support is very, very crucial when you are into financial sector business. So these are the learnings for financial microfinance. Now, we first pray that there is no crisis, but if something happens, what to do? And this is, first, is focus your energies on identifying and assess and prioritize risk. If you have got 2 risks, look at what is more important for you to handle first. Don't look at solving all the problem. Only focus on solving the most critical problem. People who focus solving all the problem at one time, they often fail. People who focus on solving most of the critical problem at one time, they often succeed. So first learning is identify, assess and prioritize your risk. Then develop strategies and policies to measure those risks, and then design policies and procedures to mitigate those risks. Then implement and assign responsibility to people who are responsible for, and then following, test effectiveness of your policy, and then revise your policies and strategies if required. Don't think that you know everything. Always monitoring, revision helps you, and those who do well and those who did well during crisis, they were able to come out in flying colors. Now, very quickly, so this is the context of India's mainstream microfinance. Mainstream, why microfinance is needed, what microfinance is, what are the models, what are the challenges, etc. We have discussed. Now we move to Islamic microfinance. Now, okay, thank you. So now, when we come to Islamic microfinance, Islamic finance contracts, basically 3 kinds of contracts are most prevalent as far as the summary of Islamic contracts are concerned. Now, one is partnership, other is exchange or sale, and the third is gratuitous, not for profit, only to help others. Entire Islamic finance contracts could be identified into these 3 types, and within these 3 types, in partnership, we have Musharaka and Muzaraba. Students who are from Islamic finance field, they know already, right? You know that. Okay, good. So, Musharaka and Muzaraba, I may not have time to go into details to save my time, but basically this is pure equity, and this is a partnership of capital and entrepreneurship. These 2 are, right? So you can be partner through your labor and money both, and you can be partner where somebody is contributing capital, other is contributing entrepreneurship, and they are joining together to share the fruit and they are sharing the risk. That is what these contracts are. Moving very fast, very quickly to others. Now, this is a sale contract. You sell something on credit and charge high price. That is known to all of us in the era of finance NBFCs. Now, ijara. I tried giving color and it is not coming well. Ijara is basically renting out. So you rent out your asset, like you rent out your houses, you rent out your hotel rooms, you rent out your restaurant places, you rent out your office spaces. So ijara is nothing but that. Salam is forward contract. So these all are basically somebody is paying to hire assets, buy assets, or procure asset for a particular period of time. Now, very quickly moving to gratuitous. Islam encourages people to not only to do adl. Adl is compulsory. Doing justice is duty of Muslim, but beyond that, doing ihsan is highly rewarded. And all this is doing ihsan. So you create social entrepreneurship, support people, support community, support society is what? So this is all business, risk sharing, this is trading, and this is gratuitous or social entrepreneurship. You club this all and you have Islamic finance contracts available here. Now, if it is Islamic finance, then those who know accounting, they will say what is the source of fund and what is the application of funds. So, source of fund, if you look at 50 years or more than that, the history of our country, initially Muslim community microfinance started with charitable contribution. Rich people will give donation to some organization and those organizations will support poor people. It's a small amount here and there. Those were the first organizations, types of organizations in our country. Then people started having deposit based organization. Now this could be VIBGYOR, this could be microfinance cooperative societies, etc. You save your money through them and all the money that is collected, the organization collecting it will pass it on to people who need fund based on the contracts that we have just discussed, and the profit coming from that or the cost recovered from that will be used to pay for running the organization. So those are the deposit based. Equity based microfinance, I have put a question mark. Anybody referring to me which other organization they know, if there is any about equity based microfinance, we can give some award to them. And then there is a membership fee based. This is more like club. People joining together to pay a fee, and then through that fees some amount of financial support can be given to the same member. These are on the liability side. This is on the asset side. The same contract that we have just discussed could be utilized to give funding support to the people who are in need. Now, this is one organization in India. I have got two case studies. One of this is this. We started in 2011-12. Within next 14-15 years, they have got 65 cooperatives under their belt, 120 branches. They have got share capital of 50 crore, membership of around 400,000, deposit of about 22 crore here. It will be more actually now. And then deposit balance, 225 deposit mobilized, 388 crores deposit, loans about 64 loan disbursement 641 crore, and loan outstanding is about 305 crore. So out of the deposit of 388 crores, 305 crores of loans were given, or financing were given, and then roughly about 100,000 loan beneficiaries. Average loan size is 66,000 and turnover is about 289 or 2000, right? 3,000 crore turnover, yes. How many times you give loan, recovered, and again give loan, so that is thing. Now this is one type of organization. Hopefully VIBGYOR is working fast forward. If they are able to get your support, if they are able to work faster, they could be multiple times more than this, because here the government has stopped giving license to multi-state. So now these organizations are creating smaller societies in each state and making them join together. The organization that Mr. Ali Mansoor has got license for 16 states with one entity. So that is the kind of scope you have if you are able to do well. And my best wishes in New Year that you do well, because it serves the society, it serves the humanity. Those kind of promises and those kind of opportunities are there. Very quickly moving further, this is one organization started in Bombay in 1973, and only to the extent of operating in Mumbai, because the license doesn't allow it to go and beyond Mumbai to operate. Now the organization has had a very tough period also, where it was closed for many years and then again revived. And these are the data. I do not want to quote this data, it is there for record, but they have gold loan, vehicle loan, staff loan, group guarantee, micro loan, loan against deposit shares, etc., types of loans. These are the types of deposits: spot, saving, recurring, Hajj, Umrah, and those are the numbers for share capital. So 21,000 new share members and total 87,000 in Mumbai alone, the shareholders of that, and you have this all societies detailed. Major issues and challenges. Coming to summing up my discussion, I'm just about in a minute or so I'll be finishing it. Now, how to run microfinance operations efficiently. When we say efficiently, engineers know that the relationship between input and output is known as efficiency. When you have less input for more output, you are known as efficient. So how to operate, because you are going from place to place collecting deposit of a small amount. So the cost of mobilization is very high. What solutions can be brought in to make sure that the cost of mobilization is remaining low, so that your cost of financing to the people also remains low, and you are not only sustainable but also profitable. So the efficiency is and sustainability is the biggest challenge for Islamic microfinance. Another very important problem in Islamic microfinance is agency problem. Fact of the matter is, we lie a lot. We borrow money for something and we use money for something else, and that is known as agency problem. People take money on the pretext of something, and then take money. Once they have taken money, they go and use it somewhere else. Organization is not aware, organization is not able to calculate the possibility of risk in such situation. So how to resolve agency problem? Because all partnership contracts will have high agency cost. Muzaraba and Musharaka is not possible anywhere in the world. We study in Islamic finance Muzaraba and Musharaka, but in real life we do not practice Muzaraba and Musharaka because of the potential of agency problem. Now human capital. We do not have people who understand Islam finance both at the same time. It is an evolving society. Somebody knows finance and somebody knows Islam, but people having idea of both are not there, so that is a problem. How to make staff motivated? Many a times Islamic microfinance institutions have staff who are working on a very small amount of salary. How to keep them motivated if the salary level is low is another challenge. And how to help them mitigate the risk the members face when they have contingencies issues. When you borrow for business, you are able to pay. When you borrow for expenses, how are you going to pay? And if that happens because of health issues, then do we have any micro insurance or micro takaful provision to support the society? So these are the issues microfinance, especially Islamic microfinance in the country have. The case studies, these are case studies. I will skip it here. I have, I think, spoken enough. So I'll give time now to ask questions and answers. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. SHARIQ NISAR, for sharing your valuable thoughts on the topic microfinance and joining us on this special occasion. We are now pleased to open the floor for an interactive Q&A session. We invite the audience to kindly share their questions.
Profit, but the banks are taking interest. What is the difference? The people are generalizing, that's we are facing.
See, I mentioned this problem. When we do not understand Islamic microfinance, the first thing we guess is that interest-free means zero cost. And when a customer comes to office and then they get the shock of their life, oh, there is a cost. Then what is the difference between interest and you? So, people do not realize that any capital that they're getting or any financial support that they're getting is coming from somewhere else, and there is a cost involved in getting it from there to bringing it to office and then passing it on to the person who is requiring funding support. People often believe, and that is our mistake in communication, when we say interest free, we actually not only say interest free, we actually convey cost of free cost. And there is nothing called free lunch in economics and business. So we have to make people understand that when we say riba free, it is not actually zero cost. There is a cost. The only difference is that the interest in the interest based system, the risk of capital utilization is shifted to the borrower. Owner is someone else and the risk is borne by the borrower. That is the problem of riba. But people think that the counter to it is all the risk of the capital will be someone else's and I will only enjoy the fruit of the capital utilization. That is not correct, and I think it will take some time to inform people that when we say interest free, and that is why we should avoid calling interest free, right? Because immediately it conveys people a message that it is zero cost. Actually, it is not zero cost. Thank you. Yes, girls, no question asked. They understood everything that I said, huh? Everything. I tell my student, don't shy asking. Even if you are wrong, better you develop your confidence asking question than not asking and thinking, I wish I had asked.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for your words, first of all. I mean, when we were discussing about microfinance, we were mostly, focusing on microcrediting and the risks involved and the loan amounts and rate of loans and rate of interest and all. So we were saying around 24% rate, interest rate on microfinance, microcrediting. So when we come to Islamic microfinancing, so will the microfinancing still be more profitable than a normal banks when, from the bank's perspective? In that case, wouldn't that be again a kind of exploiting to the society in the root level? That's one thing. And if not, if in case of Murabaha and Ijara, I hope the interest rate, the profit rates will be lesser. In that case, how, it will be easy for us to pool people for microcrediting, but how can we motivate people to invest, for depositing for the bank to lend money? Because again, the profit rate will be less. Profit rate will be less from the investor's perspective.
Thank you. The very serious question and the crux of all the problem. I wish I could solve it. These are real life problems and you will navigate only when you walk through it. Nobody can teach you how you are going to run your organization. You know where to balance, how to balance, right? These are the learning that cannot be given in theory because you are every day encountered with real life challenge. How to manage and lower the cost of financing to the people who are poorer and you wish to support them. That is the challenge. But you also have a challenge how to grow your organization, how to keep your organization sustainable so that you are able to expand your operation to serve more people, right? So these are real life challenges. There is no one answer to it. If I knew, I would have done that business myself. But unfortunately, that knowledge is there only when you are on the ground, and in your particular situation, only you know the solution. One, Islam is not going to give you a rule. Islam is going to give you a principle. La tuzlamuna wa la tuzlamun is an issue. When riba is prohibited, it is very clearly mentioned the same ayat after comma, La tuzlamuna wa la tuzlamun. You should not exploit and you should not be exploited. Now, it is the customer and the organization both know well which of one of them is being exploited and who is exploiter. So make sure when you say about Islam, you make sure that not your customer is feeling that they are exploited. At the same time, you should also convey your message that you cannot also not be allowed to be exploited. That is on one side. The other side is how to make the organization, what was that question? Did I miss that? The second portion of your question? Motivate people, right? Again, motivation comes with service, right? Many a times we try to have a shortcut, thinking that, lot of social media presence, etc., can come. It comes, but it cannot be a solution to your long-term service. If your poor quality of service is known to everyone, no amount of social media presence can help you. So the best client are those who are the most silent client, but they will tell about you and your services to everyone without you being aware of it. Now, once you do this real service to the society, your staff will be motivated actually, because they are seeing your commitment to the client. And anybody who is not so much committed to their client, actually, in my opinion, are short-sighted. They think that they can fool the society. It is not possible. Many microfinance institutions, AKs, etc., they tried getting listed and getting rich overnight. They failed. So I think when we are serving people, we have to be, it is a very delicate way where a balance is required to communicate to the customer why you are charging that much. At the same time, you are putting your best effort to make sure that your operational efficiency is building up your experience, and then you are becoming less and less expensive in terms of your ability to reach out to your customer. These are very delicate balance, but very serious question. Anybody who cracks this code will be the king of microfinance or Islamic microfinance. Girls, I'm not going to leave you before you ask me question. So somebody has to pay farz kifaya, right? You call that farz kifaya? Eh?
So
they are not talking to me. They are angry with me.
a small follow-up on the last one. And I was thinking, what would be an investment opportunity in such a bank, an Islamic bank in that case? Because I can understand the staff of the bank should be motivated for a lesser salary, for a pay cut, and of course from the bank side there can be a motivation, but how can we, microfinance is also consist of micro investments, right? Not just micro credits. When you were saying initially the larger banks were not bothering about the small money, aggregate of the smaller money that everybody possessed. So how can we make use of it in that case? Because the interest, the profit rates will be, what I get on my investment will be less, right?
See, again, I'm afraid I may not have direct answer to your question. When you have a financial institution, right, you actually produce and sell nothing. You only deal in trust, right? You will not open a bank account in the bank that you trust is not going to survive. You will not give your money to a wealth manager you don't hope to earn for you. You will not buy insurance policy from an insurance company you think will not pay you when you need it. So in the financial sector, unlike any other sector where you are immediately giving something to someone so that someone is happy with whatever they are getting, they know the price of it. But in financial sector, it is the first And the foremost thing is the trust that you are going to gain. If you are not able to gain trust, you will not going to grow. Remember the image of our Prophet ﷺ in this occasion now, right? When he was forced to leave his most beloved city, he still made arrangement that all the amanat that were given to him is discharged by his representative Hazrat Ali, and he is not going to leave the city before all the amanat that was given to the Prophet is returned to the people who owned it. That kind of amanat is required. The concept of amanat is required for that. Once you have that, the joy of running a big finance company and helping poor is something that nobody will ever forget. Forget about profit that you will have. The pleasure that you have in serving one of the most poorest segment, one of the most needy segment, is something that will give you a joy for your life. And I think that is the motivation point for entrepreneurs. When they serve the society, when they bring a smile on a poor person, there is no greater joy than that. Yes, please. Equity, if the girls are not going to talk, I am not going to talk. Yes, anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, please. These are Islamic finance student. Hey, you don't talk to me now and then. You are making big loss to yourself. Yes.
Sir, thank you for a very insightful presentation. My question is about the Sharia perspective of the microcredits. As you said, it's very popular, but in the kitab, we can see that kullu manfaatin, kullu qarlin jarra manfaatin fahuwa riba. So, if we are giving a microcredit and the payer it comes to a default position or a delayed position, is there a fine for the loan taker? If there is a loan, that should be connected to the fine is connected to the loan, then it will be a manfaat from the qarn, so it will be riba. So how can this bank giving the credits can make profits from these loans or the microcredits? That's my question.
Good question. Who will translate this question in English, in Malayalam? Yes. Who will raise their hand? Have you not studied? The question is a very important question, right? Who will translate that in Malayalam? I only understand Malayalam, right? So you have to. Nobody. Okay, that's a very important question. Now, any loan that brings profit is riba, right? If I can say in English. Now, here we need to see that a loan is bringing profit to whom, right? The loan is contributed capital from the depositors. Depositors are not earning profit out of it. It is the organization which passes the loan by collecting it from the saver to the borrower, and the cost of this transaction is passed on to the borrower to run the show. Otherwise, money will not be able to mobilize and passed on to you. So the cost of recovering or the process of recovering the cost is not nafa. Manfaat is not there for that, right? That guy is not benefiting from that process. It is the supplier or the agent or the wakil that is recovering the cost of mobilizing that capital from the beneficiary of the capital, right? You cannot put the cost of that capital to the supplier of the capital. That will be another injustice. You get that point? So here the organizations charge whatever name they call it. If it is not trading, if they call it service charge, they should make sure that the service charge is very much linked to the benefit provided to the lender. But that benefit cannot be provided to the borrower, and this benefit cannot be passed on to the lender or the saver, right? I am giving money to Mansoor Sahab. I am living somewhere. Mansoor Sahab sends his staff to collect my money, and that money is given to you. Now there is a transportation cost, there is a time cost, there is some effort cost, somebody was employed to do this. All this cost has to be borne by the people who are benefiting from. It is not me. I should not be asked to pay for it when I have already given my liquidity free of cost. Okay? Okay, I can give this much at the moment. I need to move on to some other question. Anybody else? No one. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, girls, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. As the moment, as a token of our gratitude, we would like to present We would like to present a token of appreciation to Dr. SHARIQ NISAR. I'm honored to invite our esteemed chairman, Ali Mansoor sir, to kindly come forward and present the memento and rest of the directors onto the stage. So please. Thank you, sir. We are continuing our VIBGYOR Academic Excellence Award. Our MA Finance third rank holder has reached us with us today on the stage. I invite Mr. Munfir onto the stage and kindly request Dr. SHARIQ NISAR to present the award. So please. Thank you, sir. Next, we are moving on to our next section. Our next distinguished guest represents the spirit of courage, conviction, and professionalism in ethical investing. Mr. SAIF AHMED, founder and managing partner of Zamzam Capital LLP, trained in economics and mathematics with further study at the London School of Economics. Mr. SAIF AHMED began his career in the global finance world, working with leading institutions such as Merrill Lynch and JP Morgan in New York and London. After gaining deep expertise in capital markets, investment banking and risk management, he has made a purposeful choice to devote his knowledge to building ethical Sharia-compliant investment opportunities in India. Through Zamzam Capital, a SEBI-registered research and advisory firm, he has guided investors across the country with a clear research, disciplined strategies, and unwavering commitment to principles. His leadership helped establish one of India's most trusted platforms for halal stock screening, model portfolios, and responsible investment guidance. With more than 2 decades of professional expertise, Mr. SAIF AHMED stands as a role model who proves the success in finance is not only about returns, it is about values, trust, and accountabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, let us warmly welcome a trailblazer in ethical investing, Mr. SAIF AHMED, sir. And I would like to invite Mr. Yunus sir to kindly come forward and chair the session. So please.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to one and all. It is my privilege to stand before you to chair this session. I think SAIF AHMED sir is a very good guest for us today. He is a very learned person he's learned from London School of Economics, and he has worked many institutions, finance and investment institutions, and he past decade from 2012 to 2023 he has been engaged with chit fund named Zaid Chit Fund in Bangalore. So I surprisingly covered all the, there is one blog he has published in his YouTube, and I noticed that a chit fund private limited can run with Sharia principle is a surprise, because we all know that we have very familiar with the chit funds. Especially in Kerala and Bengal, chit fund is the most common financial activity that we have acquainted with. But to run that model in a government role system is not as easy as we expected. So we are very eager to know from Zaid Ahmed sir how you run a chit fund company in from 2012 to 2023, so a long period successfully. So this model will help us to understand and to know the method of running a chit fund with a compliant way, both ethically and in government compliance also. So this is a risky part we have. So at the same time we are standing in the government compliance, and at the same time we are ethically grounded. So as VIBGYOR is balancing both this, so we are very eager to know, and our audience also, especially Kerala is a very chit penetrated economy. So we are all, in every family or in every masjid, one chit fund will be there. So this is how the economy of Kerala, Muslim economy, is mostly rely on chit. So I think Zaid sir is a very good person to share all these aspects. Moreover, apart from chit, he has moved further. I think what prompted him to move further from the chit fund to the investment side also. So these are the balancing aspects that we eager to know, sir. So please, I request Zaid sir, Saif Ahmed sir to share his insights on the chit fund experiences and what latest transitions also. This will give us some insights for further development and further endeavors. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I will stand here. Yeah. The slides. I would stand here. Yeah, that's better. That's okay. That's okay? Yeah, this should be okay, right? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all for coming here. I thank Ali Mansoor Saab, Brother Yunus for the kind introduction, all the directors of VIBGYOR group, VIBGYOR Nidhi, and staff and students and participants today. Thank you all for coming. I hope, coming after Dr. SHARIQ Saab, it's a challenge for me to keep that same level, but we will try. We are all very fortunate that we have Dr. SHARIQ with us. He has done a lot for this field in India. So alhamdulillah, we benefited, and I hope I can also add some value to your presence today, inshallah. So we will start. The topic given to me is chit funds to mutual funds and the ethical investment scenario in India. Actually, I was here mainly to talk about investments, and my mission presently is to promote Sharia compliant investments in the stock market, because I feel and the data is that Muslim community is very low participation in the stock market, and we need to increase that percentage, and there are various benefits that come with that and various risks of not doing that. Definitely we will also talk about that, but then I realized, as Yunus Saab was saying, but Yunus is over there. The chit fund is actually also a very dear topic to me, and coming to Kerala, which is, you can say, home of chit fund industry in India, it is like a full circle for me that I have to go back to my experiences and very fond experiences of running the chit fund business that I had. I was the founder of Zaid Chits Private Limited. This was a very good experiment, and alhamdulillah, I'm happy that I can share something, and others, if you could benefit and take the model forward. And I realized that might be a more interesting thing. So we have information on that, and we will so I think we will breeze through a lot of slides in the presentation and focus on the key parts so that we can focus on the topics, right? So I move this forward. Okay. So there's a disclaimer. We have to give this disclaimer as per SEBI requirements. As a research analyst, we have a license from SEBI for research analysis. This is our website. We want to pioneer ethical investing in India. My background, I will not go over it. Okay. So the fundamental thing we have to understand is what is muamalat, and what is Islam, and what is Sharia. So Islam, as you know, is a religion. This is not just one aspect of your life, which is ibadah, which all religions, they have ibadah. They have the way of worship. Every religion will have its own customs, rituals, festivals. But Islam is more than that. We have akhlaq, we have aqidah, we have ibadah, we have muamalat. In muamalat, we have the social activities, the political activities, economic activities. And economic activities is what we are concerned about. And in that, we have banking related, finance, savings, investments, economics. So all these things come over here. And the Sharia is Islamic law. Sharia will determine how every part of this parts of Islam will function, what are the rules, right? So we all know the major sources of Sharia. They are actually major and minor. A lot of misconception people have is they think only Quran and Hadith. Show me the proof in Quran and Hadith. If it is not in the Quran, it is not in the Hadith, we will not accept, right? But the scholars of Islam, through the centuries, they have defined sources of Sharia. The number 1 and number 2 is Holy Quran and Hadith. And Hadith also there is classification. We all know that. But it is not just the only sources. We also have ijma, which is consensus. Qiyas, which is analogy. The scholars are doing analogy from the Quran and some verse, then they will try to understand a new situation. There is a qiyas over there. Minor sources, you have istihsan, istislah, ijtihad, which is the scholar's own opinion, urf, etc. So we should keep this in mind, because when we talk about economics, finance, investments, a lot of new things are there that were not there in the 1400 years ago when Prophet ﷺ was there, right? There was no stock market. There was no modern financial industry. So how do we make the Sharia compliance for these things? For this, the scholars have to look into all these different sources and come up with the rulings. And that will guide us, because we are not scholars. We are practitioners. We are professionals. We need the scholars to give us the ruling. Otherwise, we cannot do anything. We do not know if it is halal or not halal, right? So this is why we need to keep this in front of us. It's a very important slide. So I will not, Islamic finance, as Dr. SHARIQ said, all those principles that conform to the Sharia. And he has even spoken about the different types of Islamic finance. So basically, use the sources of the Sharia and you create these contracts, which are, Islamic finance is nothing but contracts. And Islamic investment also, we use the first two equity. When you invest, you are investing as a partner. So you use musharaka, mudaraba. We can spend one hour on each of this, so we don't have time for that. But basically in Islamic finance, you can do either sale-based type of financing, where, as Dr. SHARIQ said, you sell something on a deferred profit basis, on a markup when you give time for them to pay. You can do things like istisna, salam, which is a type of forward contract. You can do ijara, which is rental. And you can do equity, which is profit and loss sharing. But when it comes to, there is also loans. Loans are also possible, but it is kharz-e hasana, interest-free loan. It is a helping thing. You are doing a social, you are trying to be gratuitous. You are helping somebody with that. So what is forbidden? We should interest is forbidden, riba. Speculation, that is gharar. And gambling, which is called maisir. These three things are forbidden. As long as these three things are not there and the business you are investing is halal, you are fine. So Islamic banks, now banks is another big subject, but we should understand that there is something called Islamic banks. In India, we do not have Islamic bank because of the regulation, but in the Middle East, in Malaysia, Indonesia, now even in European countries, we have Islamic banks. So the Islamic bank is a very different type of structure, very interesting structure. We obviously cannot go deep into it, but to understand what they do, they also have depositors, the customers, and they have customers who are borrowers. So when they finance the borrowers, they take back money from them, but what they give is goods and services. They don't give them money, because if they give back money and take money, that becomes interest, right? So just to understand how they work. I have a video on this subject. You can visit our YouTube channel to understand the different types of Islamic finance in detail. Okay, now the topic of interest, chit funds. It is a form of savings. I always feel it is a form of savings first, and then it is a form of finance. It is two in one. Because first, what is savings? See, there is a thing called, this is an equation in economics, very famous equation. Y is equal to C plus S. I assume there are students of economics here, and there is masters in commerce, mashallah. So all of you would have studied this equation, right? So Y is income. Income is equal to consumption plus savings. This is a very well known formula. And if you break down income, you can get various categories at the macro level and the micro level, but we'll not go into that. But just assume on the micro level, you have income. You are earning a salary, let's keep it simple. With that salary, you will consume. You will buy clothes, you will buy food, you will pay your rent, whatever. Whatever you save is savings. And if you have savings, you can invest the money. If you are not able to save, you will not be able to invest. And that is the problem in the, as Dr. SHARIQ showed in the microfinance, the poor people, they are not able to save. That's why they are not able to make capital and grow and invest and get out of poverty. So it is very important to save. And the chit fund is we use the term interest-free savings and credit option. Our company, we said, this is the way we had a slide on our website, and we use this token system. Because token is how we ran the halal chit. I will explain you, inshallah. Okay. So we know the definition of chit fund. I will not bore you on this, but it is known internationally as ROSCA, Rotating Savings and Credit Association, because it is rotating. You know, it goes to all the people once. 1 month everybody gets the chit, or you say kuri, right? And it is also savings and credit. You get finance. It's an association of people. And you see, India is one of the few countries where it is institutionalized and regulated. There is a Chit Funds Act. It is I think, probably the only country where there is a regulation for this activity. There is a Chit Funds Act 1982. It was recently amended. And it is very much popular in India. There are a lot of studies done where it is ranked as, you know, they are, especially in the lower unbanked lower part of the society, the unbanked population, most households depend on chit funds, whether they are formal or registered or unregistered. In fact, the unregistered chits are much more in size than the registered chits. Okay, so this is a just interesting thing that just shows all over the world there are different names for chits. The word might change, but the activity is the same. Okay, they call different names in different countries: Mexico, South America, Africa, India, Southeast Asia. Everywhere you go, I've spoken to people all over the world. This type of activity they are doing in their homes, in their societies. So it's a key source of saving. So what happens here is a member saves until he receives the fund. after which he starts to repay the loans in installments. Okay, and the chit fund companies, they take a fee from the clients to cover their expenses in the form of a commission, because the chit fund company is doing the business of collecting the money and giving the money once every month, and they take the responsibility of making sure the payments are done on time, so they can take a commission, they take a fee. Now I will just come to the point about the reason people join chit funds, because they need money for consumption, you know, they need to save. So people have requirements at different times of their life. Like there's a marriage, they might need money for the children's education, to buy a property, etc. So you take loan from money lenders, because they are mostly unbanked people. The money lenders charge a very high rate of interest. So even businesses can use chit funds for working capital, startup business expansion needs, etc. And for emergency needs, you need money immediately, so the chit fund comes. Because if you have saved, you are part of a chit, you can get the chit. Sometimes if you need it urgently, somebody else in your group can give you their chit and you can exchange a chit with them. All these things are possible. So I will go through in the interest of time, this is a slide of all the different types of chit companies. There are much more than these, but it's a regulated sector. You have so many registered chit funds, and some are as big as banks. In terms of their capital, they are as big as some of the smaller banks, and that shows the potential of the chit fund industry. The industry has faced some challenges of late, especially because the newer generation has not been such a big fan of chits. So that's why now the industry, from what I know, because I was part of the industry, they have started embracing technology. They were a bit late to the party, but now they are embracing technology, they're embracing apps, they have all things electronized, they are doing everything in a virtual manner also. So now the younger generation hopefully will also participate. But you have some very big chit funds like Gokulam chits, Margadasi chits, Sri Ram chits, and many of these must be in Kerala also. Okay. Now from a halal point of view, what is happening in a chit fund, let us understand. Okay. There are two, as you know, in Islamic finance, it is nothing but contracts. So the first contract is Qarz-e Hasan, interest-free loan. The interest-free loan is taking place between all the subscribers. All the subscribers are giving an interest-free loan to themselves. Each subscriber on their chit being priced, that is when the chit they get on that month, they receive an interest-free loan from the sum of all other subscribers in their chit group for that month. And in turn, he or she becomes a lender in the other months for the other members, as long as the chit will be running. Every member gets the chit once. Okay, we call it price. Wakala contract is a agency agreement. Now Islamic banks, they sometimes lend money on wakala, and wakil is an agent, and it is a very important contract in Islamic finance. For instance, Murabaha contract, when the bank sells, say, a car to a customer, the customer will be appointed as the wakil of the bank to go and choose the car, because the bank first has to buy the car on their name and then sell it to the customer with the profit. Okay. So here the ZCF is Zaid Chit Funds, the firm that we were running. The company, the chit fund company, is the wakil for each subscriber in the chit group, against which a wakala fee is charged as a percentage of the chit value. This fee is known legally as foreman commission, and the wakala agreement is signed in the form of a chit agreement. We are regulatory, as per regulation, we have to sign a chit agreement. So that is nothing but wakala agreement. Okay? Because in the chit agreement it is mentioned what our duties are going to be as a chit fund company, what we will be doing for each customer, what the customer has to responsibilities are, and what the customer will be paying us for this activity, which is the foreman commission. It used to be 5% of the chit value. Now mostly it is still 5%, but as per the government rules, it has been increased to 7% also. Okay. Okay. Now we use, how do we determine the who gets the chit in is halal chit, we cannot do the bidding. We cannot do the bidding of chits. You know, the regular chit fund model, the one who bids the lowest gets the chit. And if there's a tie, then they are sometimes in the unregulated chits, the bidding goes up to 60-70%. So for 1 lakh chit, they'll only get 30,000 rupees, which is crazy, right? But regulated chits, they have to stop the bidding at 30%. So 70% people will get. But out of 30 people, 10 people want in the first month. So in those 10 people, they will do the lucky draw. We do the whole thing based on lucky draw. We say there is no bidding, because bidding is interest. If you are taking more money, giving lesser money to the person, then that money is saved and given as dividend to the other members, which is nothing but interest income. So it is haram for us. So we used a 0% bidding. The wakala fee we took as an agent. But how do we determine who gets the chit? We use the lucky draw. And there is from the hadith, there is a reference to this. Like, the Prophet ﷺ has said that if the people knew what great blessings were in calling out the azan and in the first row, that is first row of the salat, in the masjid, they would compete with one another to call the azan and to be in the first row. And if they found no way to decide except by drawing lots, then they would draw lots. Lots is drawing the token. Okay, so we use this principle, and it is used in the regular chits also, but we used it completely as the foundation. Okay, that slide is not coming. Okay, we had a team, I will skip that. But the key features we had is that we were the first registered halal chit company in India, and we had a 0% bidding. Now you will ask the question, how come nobody has done this? How come nobody did this? Because we studied the regulation, the Chit Funds Act, we studied that regulation deeply, and we found that there is no place it is mentioned that we have to do bidding. We can keep bidding up to 30% max, but there was no minimum amount. So we chose the minimum, which is 0%. So that way the major issue of Sharia compliance was sorted out. Okay, then there was the issue of wakala fees. We also got the Sharia opinion from religious scholars and institutions. We got the fatwa that allowed us to take a commission for managing the chit as a wakil. But there was one condition in that. There were few other conditions, but one major condition was that we as a chit fund company, we cannot take part in the chit. Because if we take part in the chit, then the interest issue will come into place. So we did not participate in the chit. We were just managers. Chit fund company take 5% commission, and there, of course, certain details were there in terms of we charged lower commission from people towards the end. Those business issues were there. We did a lot of, with the experience we gained, we were able to fine-tune the model. But in a nutshell, we selected people based on the lucky draw, lottery model. We were registered under the Chit Funds Act under the Department of Cooperative Societies in Karnataka state. We ran with almost 1,000 customers for 10 years. Later on we improvised, we made an app. We were able to give updates on the chit draw, on the intimation of the chit. Initially we only had cash and check payment, then we used UPI, etc. And we calculated the finance cost to the customers, and we found that the first 60% of the customers who took the chit, in any chit, sometimes the chit have 10 months, sometimes they have 30 months duration, but the first 60%, their cost of finance was only 5% or less per annum. So fantastic low cost of credit, and we, alhamdulillah, we did more than 60 crore worth of business in those 10 years. And we felt that the way we said is you can use the chit for all your activities. And since we focused on our Muslim community, we had Hajj and Umrah. A lot of people, by the way, used our chits to go on Umrah and some on Hajj, which was and they said, no, your chit came at the right time, you were able to apply for the Hajj or go for Umrah, and they gave us a lot of dua. We were very happy for that. I think we are skipping some. Okay, yeah. So these are some of the schemes we did. So just to tell you, we gave the numbers for the chit value, the number of members and the duration will be the same. Every month one person will get the chit, and that was the monthly subscription. I think you know it, all of you are familiar with chits, but the beauty is it can be done in an Islamic way, much simpler than the regular way. If you see the regular chits, they're very complicated. The bidding, the percentage you will get every month, they give the charts, it's very complicated. But a simple way, very easy, and the people benefited most from the savings. They were very happy that even if they don't get the chit early, they got it, say in a 20-month chit, they got in the 17th month. There might be some disappointed, we hope to get it earlier, but when they got the chit in the 17th month or 18th month, they were very happy because we got 3 lakh rupees, we got 2 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees. We would have never been able to save this amount on our own. If we kept this money every month in the bank, we were not able to save, because as you know, something or the other expense will come, and the ladies also know, they are very good in saving, but something or the other comes, the money goes. That's why they run chits among the friends, and men also do it. But why don't we do it in an institutionalized way? And I think with the VIBGYOR group, through the Nidhi, they can explore this, or maybe go for another license. Happy to discuss how you could do this, but this is a model we would love for people to take and grow. We are happy to share our things. So I have spoken about the model we used, so I will not get too much into this. But we had very strict rules. We had very strict rules because like a finance business, you cannot run without rules. So one of the most important rules we had is when we gave the price to the customer, and this was as per the best practices followed in the industry, and I'm sure even like VIBGYOR group, when they give money to their borrowers, you have to make sure you take collateral. In our case, we took collateral in the form of guarantors. We took 2 to 3 guarantors from each person. So they had to make sure the guarantors' checks were given to us. We took their post-dated checks. And since we had the license, we could take legal action if required. That is the importance of having a license. Without license, you cannot take any legal action. And I will just show you some brief. Okay, that's nice. Yeah. So we had an office. This is the actual how the draws used to take place. Those were the tokens. It brings back my memories. I ran this firm. So this was a chart of all the chits taking place on a particular day. We had so many groups, at different times, 10 minutes duration, we used to have the draw. Members used to come and attend. Those who wanted used to attend. Okay, this was me there, members. Very simple model, but there was a lot of barakah in this. And there's a video on this subject you can see on our YouTube channel. And now we come to investments, right? So if you have savings, if you save money in the chits, or if you do it in the Nidhi, you save, then you can think of investing. And now where do you invest, right? First, understand what is the Islamic rules for investment. How are we doing for time? How many? We have time? Okay. 10 minutes left? Okay, inshallah. So, investments, right? Now, what are the Sharia rules for investment? First is, you have to make sure the business you invest in or the asset you invest in is halal. If it is a wrong business, wrong activity, obviously that is everybody's common sense. You cannot invest in a liquor business, you cannot invest in a tobacco business or any, a sinful activity. But after knowing that, you also need to make sure the investment you do, you cannot fix certain things or you cannot guarantee certain things. But either way, if you are guaranteeing as somebody taking the investment, or if you are fixing something, if you are making the investment, both are haram. What you cannot fix, one thing most of us know is we cannot fix the return. If we say, I am investing 1 lakh, I want 10% per month or 10% per annum, that is haram, that is riba, right? We know that. But we cannot also fix the return of the principal. That you give me the profit from the business 10%, 20% of the profit you give me, you keep 80%, okay? But when I want to exit what I invested at that time, you must give it back to me. You can't do that also. You cannot guarantee the principal. So, this is using, most of the investment in Sharia will be done using partnership basis. And the partnership, the one that most people are used to is the silent partner approach, which is called Mudaraba, where the investor will just be the silent partner called Rabbul Mal. He will put the money, he or she will put the money in the business, but they will not interfere in the running of the business. The entrepreneur, the Mudarib, he or she will run the business as per their knowledge, their techniques, and they will share the profit amongst them, whatever ratio they decide, and the loss will be borne by the investor. Okay, this is the simple thing. If we know these rules, we will not fall prey to the Ponzi schemes. I think in Kerala the people are very knowledgeable, alhamdulillah. You are not falling prey to the victim to the Ponzi schemes, which we in places like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, big cities, lot of our community got destroyed because of schemes like Hira Gold, IMA. They came and they used the halal word to fool the people. Okay. So when you talk about your investment, now this is even for a students like you or businessmen or anybody, you have your financial plan. You have to say, okay, this is, you know that your money, your net worth, each one knows very well how much I have in wealth. Because as Muslims, you also have to pay zakat. So you need to calculate your wealth. So when you calculate, you will know where your wealth is distributed. Is it only in cash, in bank balance? Maybe when you start out in the first job, your only asset will be your bank balance. But later on, you diversify. You have fixed deposit, you have debt, you have bonds, you have gold, you have real estate, you have stocks. So basically these are the main assets. There are some other alternative assets, but we will not get into them, like art, collecting fancy cars, antiques, but those are only for the super rich people. Okay, they will also put 5% of their wealth into that, but not more. But for the typical person it is this. But for the Muslim community in India, we do not have this yellow color, debt, fixed deposit. This type of investment is hardly there in the market. So we are forced to only put in real estate and gold. The most of Muslims, as I started my presentation, are hardly into the stock market. So we are heavily into real estate and heavily into gold, but mostly in real estate. And this is a problem because real estate is an illiquid asset, and though it has given great returns, when it goes through a down cycle, it is very hard to exit, and being illiquid, it is hard to exit, and you are stuck for a long time. That said, there is no harm in holding real estate. One should definitely own a big chunk of your portfolio, a big chunk in real estate, but not 100%, maybe 40, 50%, but put at least 30-40% in stocks, put 15, 20, 30% in gold, diversify your investments. So when we look into stock market, we have to know what stocks are halal. For that we have Sharia screening criteria. And Sharia screening criteria, again we make sure we do not include companies that are involved in the haram activities of riba, that do gambling, that have speculation, that is insurance will come over there, and any unsinful activities like alcohol, drugs, gambling, etc. And we have another slide for this. These are all the sectors which we exclude. The first thing you do is business which is haram, you remove. And here I will specifically mention defense. Defense is actually not a haram or non-compliant, Sharia non-compliant sector. It is very much a halal sector actually. But the reason our Sharia board and most Sharia boards exclude the defense is because in the present day and age, most of the defense companies are making weapons which when used in the war are harming innocent people also, like women and children. That's why for ethical reasons it is recommended to exclude these type of companies. Then we go to the financial ratios. We have to look at the balance sheet, income statement. Okay, those who have studied accounts, those who are studying to commerce, they will know, they would have read a lot of balance sheets. So the Sharia scholars have come up with these criteria. Different versions are there because this is all based on ijtihad, on qiyas. There's no fixed ratio given in the Quran, Hadith. So different scholars have come up with different interpretations. There are different bodies like Dow Jones, AOFI, Malaysia, BSE index in India, even the National Stock Exchange. Dr. SHARIQ has been very instrumental in making these indices. So we have various screening criteria and indices that are Sharia compliant, and we can choose which one we like to follow based on our comfort. There is no hard and fast rule. Now you will ask a question, I'm sure a question will come from the audience. How come these ratios are allowed in the first place? Because as per Sharia, not even 1 rupee of riba should be allowed, right? Riba is haram. And now you are saying, like for instance, debt to market cap less than 33%. That debt is the non-compliant, interest-bearing debt. So how come up to 33% debt, or how come 5% prohibited income is allowed up to 5%? So the reason for that is, the Sharia scholars, again, if you go back to the slide, major and minor sources of Sharia, they use the different sources of Sharia to come up with what can work in today's day and age. They realize stock market is a new thing. There was no stock market 100 years ago. So when the stock market became an issue for Muslim countries, for Muslims to invest in, they studied the matter and they realized that most of the stock market investors, that is you and me, we are retail investors. We are minority shareholders. We are not going to influence the business. Our holding, if you buy, say, Tata Steel tomorrow, or we buy Bharati Airtel, 10 shares, 100 shares, 1000 shares, we are not even going to be 0.0001% of shareholder of the company. Those companies are worth lakhs of crores or thousands of crores market cap. So, since we are minority shareholder, we are not playing a role in the management of the company. That is why the scholars have said we are allowed, given this permission to own the shares as long as the business is halal up to these ratios, because these ratios show a minimum amount, not excess of debt, of interest. So they have given us the permission, right? So this question, if it will come up, keep that in mind. And we have our ratios, which, I will not go through it in detail, it will take a lot of time, but for those who are interested, we use 5 financial ratios, and this can be seen on our website. This is our website. We list them in detail on the Sharia screening criteria, and we talk about the definition of each, right? So we'll not go too much into detail, but we use 5 financial ratios, and I'll also show you some of the other big screening firms in India. Like, this is from an Indian audience point of view. You have Tasis, which is a very famous, one of the oldest Sharia screening firm, and they have 3 financial ratios used presently. You have Musaffa, which is an app. They use also 3 ratios. There is a difference. Like, for instance, one big difference I'll give you, just to give you a practical thing. The most important ratio is the debt ratio, one of the most important. The debt ratio shows the ratio of the interest-bearing debt, which is not haram, divided by the total assets. That should be less than 33%. Some people say 30, 25, but 33%. Some people use market cap, some people use total assets. We use total assets. Some people use market cap. So that gives a big difference. Why we use total assets? Because we feel it is more natural to compare debt to total assets. Both are on the balance sheet, apples to apples, whereas that is an apples to oranges comparison. But both are right, because Sharia scholars have approved both. This is another firm called Zoya. They use 1 ratio. There's a firm called Islamically. They also presently use 1 ratio. Of course, all of the firms remove the business sector that is not halal first. And we have a Sharia board that regulates our activity. These are our scholars. And they produce every 6 months we do the screening. And we produce the Sharia list on our website for free. We do not charge. And presently, like, the latest screening was done on September 30th, 2025. We only look at companies listed in the National Stock Exchange above 500 crores market cap. And we had 1,700 firms that were screened, out of which 908 met the halal. They were certified as halal. So almost more than half the companies, alhamdulillah, was certified as Sharia compliant. And mind you, we are not looking at the entire universe. We are looking at only above 500 crore market cap and NSE only. And why we do that is because we felt it is not so safe to invest in companies that are micro cap, below 500 crore market cap. That's the main reason. Then another issue, that when you do Sharia compliant investment in stocks, you have to purify the dividends. Because as you know, one of the ratios is impure income ratio, where up to 5% of impure income is permitted. So whatever dividend you get is coming from the income, right, of the company. So that when it comes to you is the income distributed to shareholders, that's dividend. From there, the percentage that is impure you have to remove. But to make it easy, supposing you are using a 5% ratio, you can just clean 5% of the dividends and give it to charity. For private equity, it's a slightly different issue, whereas the investors in private equity funds, like venture capital funds, they need to make sure whether they are going to be minority or having a say in the business. If they are going to have a say in running the business, then you cannot use these ratios, because these ratios are only scholars have permitted for minority shareholders. So what options are available for a Muslim investor who wants to invest in the stock market, who wants to be Sharia compliant, right? So we have, okay, this is overall, we have real estate. As you know, you can earn rental income, capital gains, you can buy land, apartments, homes, you can buy gold, silver. Nowadays it's booming. The most top performing asset last year was silver. So you can, they are perfect stores of value. Throughout the centuries, what you could buy with gold, you can still buy today. It has protected the value of money. The store of value, the best store of value is gold. And you can buy stocks that are Sharia compliant. In stocks, you get capital gains, you get dividends, but mostly people are buying stocks for capital gains, making a profit. And when you buy stocks, you can either invest as a trader or as an investor. There is a difference. A trader is somebody who buys stocks for short term, and an investor is somebody who buys for the long term, meaning more than 1 year. Okay, and what are these stock market products? We look at the stocks. If you want to buy products, one is you invest on your own. If you have the knowledge, you have the brain power, you can buy stocks on your own. You can do the research. You should be an expert in fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and you research and you buy stocks on your own account. Of course, futures and options, all of you know, is not halal. So you can buy stocks on your own. But if you're not able to do that, you need products, right? So the most popular product is mutual fund. So what halal mutual fund we have? We have only 3 presently: Tata Ethical Fund, Taurus Ethical Fund, and Quantum Ethical Fund. And Dr. SHARIQ is instrumental in supervising 2 of these ethical funds, Taurus and Quantum, if I'm right. And PMS is a portfolio management scheme. Okay, portfolio management scheme are allowed for high net worth investors, where up to 50 lakhs is the minimum investment. You can't invest less than 50 lakhs as per SEBI rules. And there are 2 funds that I have the Sharia compliance certificate. One is called Green Ethical Fund, the other is called Philip Ethical India Portfolio. Then we have something called small cases. If you can see here, I think I'm covering it. Yeah, small cases are a new thing. It came from 2015. They are a technology by a firm called smallcase.com. They have created portfolios which are regulated by SEBI. Only by SEBI regulated institutions can publish them. And the beauty about the small cases, they are concentrated. They are about 15 to 20 stocks in each small case, or 25 at the most, whereas mutual funds go up to 100 stocks. So small case gives you that concentration, so you can try to beat the market, beat the index with the concentration. And these stocks are in your own portfolio. Your money stays in your own account, but the small case calculates the portfolio, and in a one click you can purchase it. For instance, we'll show you, we have about 5 small cases in the market that are Sharia compliant. Alhamdulillah, Zamzam Capital has published 4 of them. But it's all just been in the last 3 months. So our products, we have trading plan. For those who want to do trading, they can look into our website. We have 2 plans available. I will not go through that in detail. Coming to the small cases, as I said, it's a very nice technology. I would recommend you visit their website. They are all, these major brokers are connected with them. Then a lot of top research analyst firms are part of small case. Alhamdulillah, Zamzam Capital was selected to come on 3 months ago. So you could buy multiple stocks in one click. You can track the small cases easily. You can do SIP investing, and this is our small case website. They have an app which you can manage. In our small case website, zamzamcapital.smallcase.com, you can see our small cases listed there. You can read about them. You can, there's a minimum investment to buy this small case. Our fees is mentioned, and the fees stays the same regardless. You can keep adding to your investment. You can invest a much bigger amount. The fees stays the same. And to finish the presentation, I would recommend you read, all of you who want to understand Islamic finance can read this book called Introduction to Islamic Finance by Sheikh Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahib. It's available on the internet on our website for free. I would recommend you visit our YouTube channel. We list, every time we do a halal share screening, we list a video talking about it. I apologize, the language in some of those videos is Hindi, because initially we were doing it in English there, but most of the people could not understand. They wanted it to be in Urdu, Hindi, so that is also there. But we have a Telegram channel, you can join that. And if you want to reach out to me, you can most welcome go through our website and send us an email or WhatsApp. I will be happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge on the topic chit funds to mutual funds and joining us on the special occasion.
No, I'm fine.
We are now pleased to open the floor for an interactive Q&A session. We invite the audience to kindly share their questions.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't know if there are going to be any questions, but yeah, happy to take. We have time, sir, for some questions? Yeah. So audience on the left was very quiet and Dr. SHARIQ Saab could not succeed. I don't know if I'll be able to succeed, but anybody else?
You mentioned that there will be halal.
Yeah, your voice is.
So you mentioned that there will be halal screenings very often in certain neighborhoods. Let's say in one screening, the company is screened as a halal company and in next one is screened as a non-halal company. What do you do with certain stocks and what is the
Yeah, so if you're following, the first thing is, good question. Number one, you saw there's so much variance in Sharia screening criteria. Tasis can have one criteria, Islamically can have one criteria, Zamzam Capital, Musafa, we all have different criteria. That's the beauty about Islam, it gives you that difference of opinion, we respect everybody. But you as a investor, you should choose only one, okay? Don't mix and match. Okay, my favorite company, now it is halal in Musafa, and now Musafa is saying it's haram, I will go to Zamzam because Zamzam is saying it's halal. That you shouldn't do. You follow one reasoning, one school, one screening criteria, okay? When you follow that screening criteria, supposing that company X becomes non-compliant, and that we do every 6 months screening, some people might do once a year, some people might do on a rolling basis, but whatever it is, when the company becomes non-compliant, then as per our Sharia scholars and most, if you are in profit, you should exit immediately. Some people give you some time, but our Sharia scholars say the moment you notice non-Sharia compliant, you should exit that business, that share. But if you are in loss, they give you the time to wait for it to come back, the share price till the cost price, and then exit. But if you are on profit, you should immediately exit. If you hold on to it, then it is a sin and that gain will not be permitted. But the moment you exit, when it becomes non-compliant, you are fine to keep the gain. But you should not hold on for any one day more also. So they gave that exception because see, you have made a loss, right? You have not made any harmful gain. If you have the taqwa, you will exit. But if you are in the huge loss and you are saying, what do I do? They have allowed you to hold it till you come to the cost. So you don't make any harmful, any wrong gain. You're just exiting at the amount you invested. That you don't have to do that. If you want, you can do it. If you want to exit right away, you can exit. That is better, in fact. Yeah. I think I answered that question on how come the ratios are allowed. That is the most common question that is received. Anything on the chits? Yes? Yes. Informal, unregistered, yeah. Very good question, sir. See, if you are taking benefit in cash or kind, it is a benefit. So if you are taking the chit, if supposing they are not taking part in the chit, but they are taking the chit, instead of taking 5%, they are taking one free chit, that is okay. But if they are taking part in the chit, they are taking part in the chit and they are also taking commission, that is wrong. But if they are taking part in the chit and the chit holders are saying, okay, this person is running the whole chit, he is taking the responsibility, he is also participating in the chit, but for all the work he is doing anything, we'll let him take the first or second chit. That is okay. That is all the group members have decided, okay, a mutual understanding, for all the effort you are doing, you take the second. It's a benefit for him. No, he's a businessman, he'll use the capital in the business. But that is for that he's taking the responsibility. Every month the collection has to come on time, he will remind everybody, he will have to use some pressure. That responsibility is taking. For that they are saying, every month we will do the lucky draw, but second month is yours fixed. So that benefit is okay, but he should not take commission on top of that. If you are taking commission, then you should not participate in the chit. So both models are allowed. Yeah, so if you are running it as an institution like how we ran it, you have to choose the foreman commission. That is, we have to take the commission only. We cannot participate. That other model will not work. And how we calculate is like a normal finance business. How you are calculating, same. We take the collateral, we take the default risk, everything. We evaluate the credit of the customer. We make sure we get good reference customers. And once initially we will not take the customer for a big chit like 5 lakhs. We will start off with 50,000 chit, understand the customer behavior. Then if the references are there, and many times they are giving the collateral. Collateral will be a person also having the chit. So we have the security. If that, and there is a risk if the person. Yeah. Yeah, but we are lending, no, that's why it is a credit and saving. When we are disbursing the amount, it is a credit. It is like a loan we are giving, because he is supposing it's a 25-month chit, 20,000 a month, 5 lakhs chit. Third month somebody has got. So he has only paid 75,000 or 60,000. We are giving him 4,75,000. 25,000 we are taking commission. That amount extra is our credit. And that risk, if he doesn't pay, tomorrow they will not say, why you're not, we cannot tell the customer, we cannot pay you the amount because that person has not paid. They are coming to us for the name, Zaid Chits. We are expected to pay the full amount. We cannot give the excuse that one person has not paid. That is the reason why it is important to have that capital also. You cannot use that. So you should have a strong collection. We did daily collection also we were doing, like a pygmy scheme, everything. It is a very good model. I feel it is one of the best way to save money from personal experience. Happy to share further. Inshallah, I think we can have time for one last question, if there is.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
My question is, what is the rationale behind the discount system in chit fund? It goes as a dividend to non-priced subscribers. So it is the system of in conventional chit funds.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to Islamic field, is accepting discount alone is make that the Sharia compliant chit fund? And the second question is, you mentioned that there is a allowance of keeping the riba to 33%. So it is our need to keep away from the shubhul mal. It is needed to purify this fund to away from it. So how can that often leads to on less than we invested. So the purification leads to getting the fund that less than we invested. So how can we compromise these two situations?
So the discount, you are meaning the dividend, the regular chits which are not halal, they do this discounting. So the bidding, initially you will have to get only 70%, then after 2-3 months it will go up to 75%, 80%. The person at the end, he will get a lot of interest, plus he will get the 95%, 5% will go to the commission. What you are asking, I think, is the discount I mentioned in the presentation. We were giving the last few members who got the chit, we are giving a discount in the commission, because from our side we are giving them a discount. They are getting at the end, no? So just for them to feel less burdened, we are giving a lower commission than 5. that is permitted. From our side, we are giving one-sided. We are giving a gift, lessening our charges. We have the ability to do that. Now, regarding the, I think what the question was is, what do we have to purify? As I mentioned, we have to purify dividends. There is also some people who feel we have to purify capital gains, but majority scholars say you only have to purify dividends. The capital gains, if you purify, that becomes a big amount, right? Supposing you bought a share for 1,000, it has gone to 2,000, and you know the impure income ratio is say 3%. That you have to also purify the capital gains. 1,000 rupees gain, no? 3% you have to give in charity. But as per our Sharia board, you only have to purify dividends, not capital gains. There are two schools of thought on that. I think that's what you are asking. Yeah. On the capital gains, no? Per share, yeah. Impure income, but use that ratio for the dividends, no? For the share. Okay. Correct. Any other question? I think all the ladies are silent, so we'll cannot succeed there. New Year's Day faster. I can ask in Malayalam, somebody can translate. No.
Assalamu alaikum. Respected sir. Respected sir, you mentioned here in the slide about the benefit of a person that is based on the lottery benefit.
Yes, yes.
Is it connected to the NISAR or any belonging to
No. Yes, good. You remember I showed you a hadith. I showed a hadith from, I think it is from Bukhari or Bayhaqi, I can't remember what the reference is given, where the Prophet ﷺ has said that if people know the benefit of praying salat in the first row or giving the azan, they will fight for it. They will rush for it. And if they cannot determine who will get the chance, they will use lots. Lots is the token system, lottery system. See, if you want to give a gift to your children, supposing you have 3 sons and you want to give something, apartment or something, you have 3 floors. How you will determine who will get the top floor? Each one you have a love each one. No, you will give the lucky draw. Who picks the number for that floor, they will get that floor. And then nobody will feel disappointed. They will feel all happy. The father has not done any injustice. Because our luck, nasib, what Allah decided, we pick that number, no? So here also in the chits, when they pick, they are getting that, not getting, their token is not getting picked in the box. Only in the last month they got it. There is a nasib from Allah. They don't have any anger that, oh, why you did not give us? Because we did transparent way. It is your luck. So Muslim, you will accept that. Anybody will accept that. It's one of the best ways to determine. Even the non-Sharia compliant firms use that, but first they do the bidding. Don't confuse this with lottery tickets. They use the word lottery for that also, but that is gambling. Because there you are paying money for the lottery ticket, but you are not sure of getting anything. It is gambling means what? Only one person will win the prize or few, the rest will lose. That is why futures and options is haram, because it is a gambling. You are buying a call, but you are not sure of exercising it. So it's a gamble. That's my sir. Nice, but this is not nice. Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable time with us. At this moment, we would like to present a token of appreciation. I would like to request Mr. SAIF AHMED sir to kindly come forward and receive the memento, and Mr. Ali Mansoor sir and all the directors and advisory board member, Mr. Jabir Amani sir, to graciously present it. So please. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now move on to our very special segment of today's program, a moment of recognition and gratitude. May I now invite Mr. Jabir Mani sir, our esteemed advisory board member of VIBGYOR, onto the stage for the felicitation. Sir, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Most distinguished personalities of the dais, not on the dais. Now here, the VIBGYOR Finance Summit 2026. This is based on the Islamic economics and finance. I really appreciate for the directors and the organizing committee of such as Finance Summit, because this is the vibrant subject of the present scenario, and the present scenario compelled to us to be more practiced and aware about the financial and enterprise market. And we can see in the Holy Quran, one of the word which used for the al-mal, you know very well the ayah from chapter 4, Surah NISAR, verse number 5. وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمُ الَّتِي جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ قِيَامًا. Here in this ayah, Allah mentioned here the amwal, the mal is qiyam of the universe and qiyam of the insan, qiyamul nas wa qiyamul alam. And the meaning of the qiyam, you know very well, we can use in the time of the prayer, iqamatus salah. The origin word of the qiyam in the Arabic language we can see qama yuqimu iqama al-iqama. And this word is connected in all fields of the human being. And the modern science and especially in the financial science, we can see the word which used the qiyam is the sustainability. I mean here al-istidama or al-istiqama. Al-istidama wal-istiqama used in the Arabic language, I mean in the English language, we can see the translation is sustainability. And the word is sustainability is most relevant and reputed terminology in the present world. And here Allah mentioned that the mal is for sustainability of the human being. And we can see the second meaning, that is qa'imun bil qisti. Qa'imun bil qisti in the chapter number 3, verse number 18. Qa'imun bil qisti, that means the well performing. And we can see in this same word in the Holy Quran, الرجال قوامون على النساء. الرجال قوامون على النساء. Al-Qawwam is not the meaning is the any subject to the or the submission of a person to the wife or to the woman. But here al-iqama, qawwamuna meaning is well performing by the just, a justful performance. That is al-iqama. And we can see the second word is well performing. أي جعل الله لكم قياما. It means جعل الله لكم for sustainability and جعل الله لكم for well performing. And we can see the word is ولا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم قياما. വലിയൊരു തമാശ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ സമ്പത്ത് നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു കാരണവശാലും സുഫഹാ വിഡ്ഢികൾക്ക് ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കരുത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നിടത്ത് ഇമാം സുഹ്രി അതിൻ്റെ തഫ്സീർ രേഖപ്പെടുത്തിയൊരു ഭാഗം നിങ്ങൾ സ്ത്രീകൾക്ക് പൈസ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കരുത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് ഇമാം സുഹ്രി റഹ്മഹുല്ലാ. ഓക്കെ, ഒരു ട്രാൻസ്ലേഷനിൽ ആ ഭാഗം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണാവുന്നതാണ് എന്ന് മാത്രം സൂചിപ്പിച്ചു എന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഓക്കെ, ആൻഡ് ദ സെക്കൻഡ് മീനിങ് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ വെൽ പെർഫോമിങ്. ഐ ജഅലല്ലാഹു ലക്കും ഖിയാമൻ, ജഅലല്ലാഹു ലക്കും ഫോർ സസ്റ്റൈനബിലിറ്റി ഓഫ് യുവർ ലൈഫ് and ja'alallahu lakum qiyaman for the well performing of your life. And the third meaning that is effective procedure maintaining. Ja'alallahu lakum qiyaman means ja'alallahu lakum al-mala, ja'alallahu lakum the money for effective procedure maintaining. Allah said that this word in the Holy Quran, وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةُ قَائِمَةٌ. وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةُ قَائِمَةٌ. I mean in the chapter number Fussila, verse number 15, 50. وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةُ قَائِمَةٌ. അതങ്ങനെ നടന്നു പോകും. ഇറ്റ് മീൻസ് ഇൻ ദ നമ്മളുടെ ഭാഷയിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةُ قَائِمَةٌ. പരലോകം നടന്നു പോകും എന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ വിചാരിക്കരുത്. ഐ മീൻ Allah maintaining all the procedure. It means qa'ima, qama yuqimu al-qa'ima. That is the third meaning. And the fourth meaning, that is the focus. I mean we can see in the Holy Quran about focusing in the ayah which mentioned in the term of the Kaaba. Hunaka in the terms of the Kaaba, Kaabയെ കുറിച്ച് പറയുന്നിടത്ത് ഒരു വേർഡ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ഖായിമൻ ലിന്നാസ് ഔ ഖിയാമൻ ലിന്നാസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നൊരു പദം വിശുദ്ധ ഖുർആൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പ്ലീസ് സെർച്ച് ഇറ്റ്. ഐ മീൻ ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. I mean we can see here the word chapter number 4 verse number 5, Allah mentioned in one word that is about the mal, ja'alallahu lakum qiyaman. It means ജഅലല്ലാഹു ലക്കും ഖിയാമൻ, നിങ്ങളുടെ ഖിയാമിന് വേണ്ടി അള്ളാഹു സമ്പത്ത് ഏർപ്പാടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നിടത്ത് വിശുദ്ധ ഖുർആൻ സൂചിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ഒന്നാമത്തെ മീനിങ് സസ്റ്റൈനബിലിറ്റി, രണ്ടാമത്തെ മീനിങ് വെൽ പെർഫോമിങ്, മൂന്നാമത്തെ മീനിങ് എഫക്റ്റീവ് പ്രൊസീജിയർ മെയിൻറ്റെയിനിങ്, ആൻഡ് ദ ഫോർത്ത് മീനിങ് ഫോക്കസ്. ഒരൊറ്റ വേർഡിലൂടെ ഇത്ര വലിയ അത്ഭുതങ്ങൾ ഭാഷാപരമായി പോലും ഈ ആയത്തിൽ നിർവഹിക്കപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അല്ലാഹു അലം. I extend my gratitude and heartfelt congratulations to the function, I mean the VIBGYOR Financial Summit as a part of the VIBGYOR family. وفقنا الله التوفيق في هذا المقال. جزاك الله خير الجزاء. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Thank you, sir. We are now moving on to our closing ceremony. Before that, participants are required to collect their certificate before the venue. We are now moving on to our closing ceremony. For delivering the vote of thanks, I would like to invite our esteemed director, Mr. Ashfaq sir, onto the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I am very happy in the first day of this 2026. In front of you, we had happened this beautiful event of Financial Summit. First of all, I thank Allah itself, alhamdulillah, to be a great success of this event. We know that Dr. SHARIQ NISAR, he given us very insightful thoughts regarding the deep microfinance system and its model and its tools. Basically, the thing is, we are at the tip of the iceberg only.
when we are started this organization, clearly without any model in current Kerala scenario or Indian scenario. We have a lot of theoretical books, kitabs, everything, but the practical knowledge was very less for among us also. We are only 7 youngsters regarding the finance, Islamic finance system. But this system is now what happened, all the theoretical backup we have received. Even when he explains each of points, what we see in the current scenario is we have a lot of institutions, Islamic finance institutions, discussing about the new principles, microfinance principles and other financial principles also. But the productive level, VIBGYOR thinks we can give you a platform for your for your researchers, your projects, and of course most importantly the practical principles. We don't using the Islamic finance anyway, we are using ethical financing only for our strategic basis. So anyway, alhamdulillah, we got Dr. SHARIQ NISAR for our first event itself under VIBGYOR Foundation is very much blessing for us. I once again thank him for the name of VIBGYOR family. And of course, Mr. SAIF AHMED, thank you very much, sir. What is the next futuristic insights in Islamic finance from cheats, mutual funds, everyone? Knew the Gen Z also are very interested in research among these sections and the what are the terms regarding this, everything. So it will be very helpful to get it through it and making it as a successful, I hope. And of course, our chief guest, Mr. NUVAIS, I thank him also. And of course, we got the great facilitation from Mr. Jaber Rahmani, our honorable advisory member of VIBGYOR group of institutions. And moreover, everyone who is present here to make this event as a great success. Once again, we thank you very much for your valuable presence for VIBGYOR family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Once again, I remind you, participants are requested to collect their certificates before leaving the venue. May I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem.
गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे